Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Skip, you have been teasing this big announcement. Any hints?
I got a big announcement to make, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, that's all. That's all we're going to get.
A few minutes here on the show.
Okay.
I'm going to unleash it.
All right.
Still gonna cut your L.
Yeah.
You ready for that, Shannon?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Until we get there, we have so much to get to today.
Embiid
How
Towns.
concerned should the Browns be with Baker Mayfield and is Dak Prescott being disrespected in the latest QB rankings? You hear that, Skip?
Yes.
But hey, we got to start with a fight in Philly last night. Joel Embiid and Karl-Anthony-Towns were both ejected after a shoving match escalated into a full-on brawl. At one point, Embiid could be seen putting his thumb in Towns' eye, and later teammate Ben Simmons had his forearm across Towns' neck at the bottom of the pile. After the game, Embiid said the incident happened out of nowhere, and since he didn't throw a punch, he does not expect to be suspended. He also said, quote, "I like to get in people's minds." Lot there. Shannon, whose side are you on?
Well, Skip, it's kind of hard to pick a side because you don't really know what led up to this. I think I know what led up to this. They've been going kind of back and forth over the last couple of years on Twitter. A couple of years ago, for 2 years straight, I think, general manager says if I had to start a team, Karl-Anthony-Towns would be the player that I would select.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Joel Embiid says I'm the best big man in basketball.
Yep.
Okay, the general manager says this, Joel Embiid says that. So they go back and forth. Now, last night what happens is Joel Embiid comes down, a hard double team, dislodges the ball from Anthony Towns, it goes back the other way. Okay, the arms get tangled. And normally, Skip, your arms get tangled. You're like, okay, I'm going to take my arm out, you take your arm out. But that's not how it goes, Skip. I got to snatch my arm, you snatch yours, I got to snatch my arm now, so we snatching arms out of each other. Mm-hmm. I give you a light shove. Well, hold on, you shove me. I got a two-hand shove you. And it goes from there. I'm going to give a slight nod to Embiid. I'm going to say it's a 10-9. It's not a 10-8 round, Skip, because Cat almost hip-tossed him. I thought he was going to hip-toss him, Skip. Like, he didn't. Got him down, and they go to the ground, and then everybody run. That's a lot of money coming into that picture. They don't even realize, Skip, that's money. They're running to try to break this fight up, and Adam Silver's like, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Good point.
But, Skip, in a situation like that, Skip, they shouldn't fine him. Because they're coming in to break it up. They're not trying to add friction to it. But Skip, when I look at it like this here, and then you see Ben Simmons on the bottom of this, Skip, I'm gonna have to see Ben. Skip, I gotta see Ben. Because here's the thing, you grab your guy, don't you come grab me. Everybody knows in our community, you get in a fight, Skip, you better make sure somebody can grab somebody and you can grab somebody, because if you grab the wrong person and that person gets stole on, now he mad at two people, he got to swing on you. Happened to me in college, Skip. We playing pickup basketball, dude named Jason Bryant. I'll never forget it. I'm tell you, at the end, you're going like, okay, I see. Skip, they get the hard foul. They get the shoving and pushing, they swing on each other. And one dude grabbed Jason. Well, the dude fires on him. He turns around the dude that grabbed him. He punches him, knocks his tooth out. Oof. Jason said, you know what? I got something for all y'all. He starts to leave. Sharpe, man, you need to grab for what? Because I already know he's going to get his gun, Skip. Ooh. I said, nah, I ain't going to grab nothing. I said, y'all can wait here. I'm gone. Ooh. Skip, right now he got life with no parole. Really? Killed a police officer about 15 years ago. Ooh. So I knew he had the makeup what he was made of. You don't grab somebody, Ben, because it looks like, hold on, it looks like it's 2 for 1, Skip. I can see you grab him and somebody grab Joel Embiid. But when you on the ground, it looks like he got him in a rear naked choke. It looked like Karl-Anthony-Towns trying to tap out. I'm like, come on, man.
Then he goes back to his huddle, and Karl-Anthony's going like this, like, he had me around the throat.
Yeah. So, and Karl doesn't know. I mean, he doesn't know, what's going on. He just knows, well, I know it's not one of my guys doing it. And so he's going to look at the steal shot. He's going to look, man, Ben Simmons laying on top of me with his forearm around my neck. So now I got to, me and Ben going to have a conversation, and Ben's going to have to do some explaining. But, Skip, this goes back that, look, these are two big men. One thinks he's the better of the two. The other thinks I'm the better of the two. And they've been going back and forth on Twitter. They've been jabbing each other. I'm a lion, you ain't no lion, you soft. And see, the thing that Joel Embiid has is intimate knowledge. He played with a guy that was in that locker room, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler said, I can't stay here. Y'all too soft. We can't win anything. You, Anthony, you, Cat, you, Wiggins, I want out. And so now Joel Embiid has that information, that knowledge. Man, y'all soft.
You seen his IG post? He added Jimmy Butler because he wanted Jimmy to know all about what's going on. Right?
So
Wanted him in the know.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going on. We can talk about the media. And Karl Anthony Towns, we talked about something the other day. Anthony Davis playing through pain, playing through injury because he wants to change the narrative. What Karl Anthony Towns said, I've had enough of you people calling me soft.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm dropping the drop anchor right here. From this day moving forward, you will not perceive me as being soft because I'm about to do something. Hey, so here's where we are right now, Skip. So I think this is going to be something I wish they were in the same conference. This is not going to be a Bird Magic situation because what's the likelihood, Skip, we see in Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid in the NBA Finals? Like Bird and Magic, if they had tussle, we know at some point we're going to see them in the NBA Finals. We can resume this.
There's high likelihood of one of those two being in the NBA Finals. The guy who plays for Philadelphia, but go ahead.
The thing is with Bird and Magic, Skip, they saw each other, once at home, once on the road, but they played in the Finals a lot. And so they got an opportunity to renew this. I don't know how many more times we're going to get an opportunity to see this outside of the regular season. It would be great if we could see it in the postseason, but I don't think that's very highly unlikely. So I'm going to give a slight nod to Embiid, but he does a great job of needling people. And once he gets you on that hook, Skip, he ain't letting you go. So this is what you're going to have to deal with for the next 10 years, Karl Anthony Towns, is dealing with Joel Embiid, believing that he rents space in your mind.
Okay, well said. All good points. I disqualify myself. I love Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I do too.
Love the way he plays, love to watch him play. I even love his post-game antics on Instagram. He was more in the wrong here. He was the escalator of this because he was the one who gave the first big shove when they got their arms locked up. And I don't know how many times you got your arms locked up with DBs after the whistle had blown and you're just sort of yanking and pulling and you're trying to sort of establish who's superior here.
That is correct.
And that's what was going on, and Joel would not literally let it go until he gave one big shove to him. Because he thinks he basically mentally owns Karl Anthony Towns.
He does.
And to your point, and to his credit, Karl Anthony finally said, okay, that's enough of this. I can't take it anymore because I can't risk taking it anymore. I'm more of a lover than a fighter because I think he's a really good guy. I don't think he came to the NBA to fight.
No.
Joel just doesn't seem to care. If you want to play, you'll play. If you want to fight, good, let's have fun. Let's fight. And his hashtag at the end of his post was fight night. Okay? Like he's embracing it.
Exactly.
Like if Karl Anthony said, let's just show up at the arena tonight, let's just fight. Let's not play a game, let's just fight. Okay. All right, that's
Skip, you see how Joel Embiid, Skip, he's in there and they break it up. He getting the crowd hype.
The crowd, he loved it.
Not only did he get the crowd hype, he goes over to Mike Scott on his bench and he's like, did you see what I just did? And remember what Mike Scott just did on opening NFL Sunday? Do you remember that?
Yeah, he wore a Washington jersey.
Because he's from Virginia.
To a Eagles.
To the pregame tailgate. And he was swinging on. I looked at the video this morning, but he's up against like 5 Eagle fans. They're all about half his size.
Correct.
But one of them just comes at him, and he's just swinging on him. And I can't believe there wasn't a little more punishment on all fronts from that. But he sort of skated out of that one. But Mike Scott threw some big punches.
He did.
So Embiid's going to Mike Scott. Did you see? I did it too. I was swinging, and there were some little punches thrown in that scrum.
Well, Karl tried to get a punch in. He didn't
I think Embiid, as they were going down, he had a couple of swipes in there.
Well, he did have his thumb in his eye, though.
He got him in the eye.
Oh.
So, again, I'm impressed that Karl Anthony at least stood up for himself, and I think he'll win some points around the league for fighting back. I'm not endorsing fighting, but sometimes when you get pushed far enough, you just got to stand up. And we don't want to see bloodshed. We don't want to see
Kermit Washington, Rudy Tomjanovich.
We don't want to see that.
Or the Malice in the Palace.
Ooh, either one of those. Because I've told you, I was there that night at the Kermit Washington. I wound up, for the LA Times, getting sent to the hospital on death watch. I thought
Rudy
T was going to die. They sent me to Centinela Hospital down by the airport here in Southern California, LA. Because they thought he was going to die because Kermit got a full-speed punch in on him.
And then Rudy was running. He not only did Kermit swing as hard as he could, Rudy was running into the punch. So it was a perfect storm.
And I'm knocking on wood. I'm not advocating any of that.
Right.
I'm talking about just kind of literally pushing back.
Right.
And maybe wrestling back.
Right.
It just sort of escalates into a big wrestling match.
Right.
But you have to stand your ground. Now, for Joel, he said before the year, I'm going to leave all that stuff behind. And he's got a little bit of Dwight Howard in him, in that he's got fun lover in him.
Right.
He's got big silly in him.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He's got I don't take basketball that seriously in him. But in the end, I said on this show before this year started, he is, I know it's a little bit of a long shot, but I'm hanging in with him to be MVP this year, and he's off to a very good start.
Yes.
Obviously, Giannis is the clear front runner, and you've got AD in LA, and we could go on and on. Although Giannis, I keep watching him try to shoot free throws, and I don't know if you saw
He airballed.
He airballed.
Yes.
Airballed. So maybe that's going to dock him
Something.
a few MVP points and votes.
Right.
So Embiid's off to a very good start, but he's not leaving it behind. At some point, you got to grow up and sort of grow out of that, because he's now taking great pleasure in psychologically dominating Karl Anthony Towns. And I agree with you, it goes way back to their one-on-one sort of feud and rivalry over who is the best big man. And Karl Anthony has as much talent as Joel does.
absolutely.
Talent.
Absolutely.
He's got as good a stroke from distance.
Yes, can put it on the floor and
Yep.
get to the basket, post up, mid-range.
I think he made 3 threes last night. Yeah, he
Yeah.
made 3 of 5 threes. Karl Anthony did. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Joel shoots a few too many threes, but he can make them
Right.
too.
But Skip, at the end of the day, look, if a running back has a problem fumbling the football, what do you tell the defense? Try to get the ball out. Well, people perceive Karl Anthony Towns, be it true or untrue, as being soft. So they're going to see how far they can push him. And at some point in time, you got to protect the ball. Running back that says protect the ball. Okay, Karl Anthony Towns, you got to protect your turf.
Yep.
Because big men are going to try to intimidate you. See, the thing, and with Joel Embiid, you got to look at it, Skip, like, okay, he does what he does. But what are you going to do? He's 7'2". It's like Shaq. They knew Shaq didn't play any games, but Shaq was 7'1", 335. Joel Embiid is 7'2", probably 350. Yeah. So what are you going to do? But at some point in time, Skip, you got to stand your ground. Sometimes you got to take a butt cut and just to prove, and I tell people all the time, I was like, guys, I really don't know how tough I am, but I promise you, you don't want to find out. Well, Karl Anthony Towns said, look here, I might not be tough, but you don't make me find out just how tough I am. And I think Joel Embiid put him in the spot last night, Skip. He was willing to find out just how tough he was.
Yep.
Because he's like, you know what, Joel? Enough is enough.
Yep.
The Twitter is one thing.
Yep.
But now you shoving me in front of, people, keyboard, I call it keyboard courage.
Sure.
People got muscles,
Oh,
got thumb muscles. Ooh, they strong, Jenny. Just
Real confident behind the
type
screen.
anything.
Yep.
But when you do that in front of an arena, Skip, in front of all these people and people watching at home,
Yep.
and people see him shove you and you don't do anything, Skip, that's a bad look. And Karl Anthony couldn't go for that.
Okay.
He's like, I'm standing my ground, I'm dropping anchor here, enough is enough.
Okay, so I mentioned that Joel has some Dwight Howard in him, but there's a point of no return, because over that line is what also Joel has that Dwight doesn't have. Joel's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Joel will play big and strong
Yeah.
and physical and tough. That's what I love about him. He'll take and make big shots. Dwight has little to no real post-up game, no interior scoring game. You can't go to Dwight in the fourth quarter. Trust me, you can go to this guy down the stretch. This guy can make his free throws like crazy. He's already off to, he's 82% so far. But last year he took the second most and made the third most, I think, free throws. So he's a high-volume free throw shooter who can make the free throws.
A big man that can shoot 80% is gold.
And yet he won't give up the antics, because his quote after the game, I like to get in people's minds.
Right.
Well, that's fine to a point, but at some point, you're just better than he is, and it's not worth it.
He can't help it, Skip. You know what he reminds you of? He's a more talented, a more gifted, a more dominant Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman couldn't stop those antics, Skip. He was going to get rebounds regardless, but he felt he had to pinch the guy on the butt. He had to knee the guy, had to trip him. He had to do all these other antics. He didn't need to, but he felt it. And once he felt he got into a guy's mind, well, I got you. You know, you see him and Carl Malone skip in the finals. He pushed Carl down, Carl pushed him down, Dennis trying to get up. He falls back on the ground, make it seem like Carl Malone pushed him down, and they had to come between them. But that's his game. I don't know if Joel Embiid is ever going to leave this behind, Skip, because that's a part of who he is now.
Dennis Rodman was 6 feet 7 inches tall with little to no offensive game. Maybe none.
None. He didn't have enough.
Like nobody even expected him to score 1 point, but they did expect him to get 12 or 15 rebounds.
Right. Well, he had an offensive rebounding game. That was his offense. Yeah. Offensive rebounding. Give him second chance. Right.
But if he failed to score, nobody noticed.
Right.
This guy is a scorer.
Yes.
He is a big-time defender. He is a shot blocker. He can rebound numbers-wise with Dennis Rodman any day or night. And yet he can't leave alone all this.
No, he can't.
All the byplay because he enjoys the social media.
Yes.
His Instagram was posted last night from a place called Broad Street Bullies Pub, and I thought that was fitting.
There you go.
He considers himself one of the Broad Street Bullies, going back to a hockey reference.
The Flyers.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. You do like that hockey reference.
I'm glad you guys all know.
In the end, here's what you have to know about the circumstance of this last night. There were 6:42 left in the third quarter, and what was the score?
They were already down 20.
Joel's team was ahead by 20 points, so he was fighting from a position of strength.
Correct.
He was escalating from a position of, I own you again tonight, right?
Yes.
And that's why Carl Anthony finally, out of frustration, it just boiled over. But what Joel's going to have to figure out, he's going to get suspended. He said he didn't deserve suspension. Well, trust me, it looked like some little punches were thrown on both sides. Right. Well, you can't let this go.
And it doesn't look good that the NBA that you involved in this and you're hyping the crowd up.
Yep.
It's kind of like, Skip, just like, you get, I remember Brian Cox used to get thrown out of the games, and as he's walking off the field, he's flipping the birds. Well, you've already wrong, so don't make it double wrong. I don't know, I agree with you, Skip. I don't know how Commissioner Silver just looks at this and says, okay, it's no harm, no foul. Yeah. No, I believe he's going to probably get a game or a very, very stiff fine at the bare minimum. But you're probably right, Skip. He's probably going to get a game. But he can't, Skip, this is a part of who he is. He's not leaving this behind.
Well, as he was leaving the court, they were all chanting MVP, MVP, and I'm good. I'm there. Yeah. But I think it's going to take some growing up to be able to assume the mantle of the MVP of this league.
And you see Carl Anthony Towns' mom was in the stand.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to come down and fire on Joel.
And he got a kick out of that because he tweeted that she was giving him middle fingers, and it did appear in the video that I saw as if she was doing that.
And I don't know if that was his dad, but someone was like,
somebody's trying to
like, babe, come on, you do. I mean, cameras
will spot you.
And she was like, I need to get at him.
I assume they were at the game because Carl Anthony grew up in Edison, New Jersey. And I assume it's close enough that they could just drive over to Philadelphia. I don't think they go to every game. Right. But for Carl Anthony, that's not the best look. That will enhance the soft reputation.
Well, Skip, you remember now, what was this? Was it the Celtics? When LeBron got into it, and Glow still was like, hold on, but that's my baby. Y'all, and LeBron was like, I don't know if I'd have used the words that he used.
Sit your down.
And you know what? Glow goes to the game. We never had another incident like that again.
So she's Glow to you now.
Glow. Oh, yeah, Glow. Yeah. We're the same age.
Okay, well.
We're the same age.
It's like you know her.
Oh, my bad. Okay, Gloria. I want to get, because people are like, man, he called LeBron. You hear Sharpe on TV call your mom Glow. So I want to put that. Yeah. Gloria, LeBron's mom, had an incident in which and LeBron was like, look, mom, let me handle. I'm grown now, so let me. Used to have to fight my battles when I was a little younger, but I'm a grown man now. Let me handle this. Everything gonna be okay. So you just go ahead and put pain on people. But you know what, Skip? Some people just have an image. Now a lot of this was now Charles locally people know you didn't fool with Oak. Oak would fight in the arena. If Oak said, meet me in the tunnel, Oak would literally meet you in the tunnel.
Nobody would have even tried this with him.
No, Skip. No. I've known Oak for 25 years. Yep. Oak fight anywhere, anytime, however you want to do it. He still has that. He's calmed down a lot now as he's gotten older. And I was like, man, Oak, what if you should have had this persona 25 years ago. He's like, it wouldn't have worked. Because Oak came up in the time in the 80s, Skip, the tough guy was needed. Because guys would run slap over you. There was none of this pity pat stuff. Now, these guys, the Knicks, that was as close to a football mentality that you've ever had in the NBA. When him and Xavier McDaniels and
Mason.
Mace and Charles Smith, Skip, and Ewing, Skip, that was a football mentality. And
when Pat Riley coached them, they played football.
They did.
They did.
When them and the Heat
not
would,
fun to watch.
When them and the Heat would get together, Skip, it was.
Yeah. Those were the days. And then you have Michael Jordan, who
they tried to play
cold-blooded killer. Nobody messed with him, and if you did mess with him in practice, he dropped little Steve Kerr.
Yeah, he swung on Steve.
Dropped him.
Weddington swung on Weddington. Oh, but no, Purdue was at Purdue.
Well, Purdue, Vanderbilt University. Thank you for
swung on him.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You proud of that, Skip?
I am. 'Cause that's Jordan. That's cold-blooded killer, man.
LeBron's like, no, guys, we can. Calmer heads can prevail. Okay. We can work this thing out by talking.
Well, I think we're going to see more of this because the two will meet again March 24th in Minnesota. I'm going to have to get back for that game.
Yeah,
I feel like this
that might be a national televised game, Skip.
Front row seats. I feel like I could pull a few strings and maybe get there. Yeah. I don't know. Either way, hey, it's entertainment, and that's why we're all in this business a little bit.
No mercy.
At 2-5 on the season, the Browns have taken their fair share of criticism. The season's frustrations may finally be getting to Baker Mayfield, who ended up walking out of his scheduled media scrum yesterday. Check out the exchange between Baker and a Cleveland reporter.
Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What?
All right, afterwards, Baker did tweet that if he offended anyone, then it's too bad. Shannon, how concerned should the Browns be about Baker?
Skip, they should be concerned with his play, and he's doubling down on things that he really shouldn't double down on, and his rhetoric doesn't match up with his play. Skip, he should. I'm offended. You know why I'm offended? Because I picked them to win that division. I'm offended with his play. He has 6 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He's played good in one game. In 7 games that the Browns have played this year, Baker Mayfield has played good in 1. And that was at Baltimore. And not only did he play good, he played great.
He did.
But outside of that, he's been terrible. He's been abysmal. And he keeps talking this, I love Baker. What do you love? What has he shown you? He has a chip. Skip, Baker Mayfield is not the only one that came from circumstances, and I get it, being a walk-on and walking on at Texas Tech and walking on to Oklahoma and winning the Heisman. But you know what? That's not helping you in the NFL. What you did in college, Skip, and what people don't understand, and take it from a guy that spent 14 years in the locker room, the more heritage you come into the NFL with, the harder guys will go at you because they want to see. And you know what? And you hear rumbling, Skip. He's overrated.
Yep.
You start to hear all he cares about commercials.
Yep.
I don't see, all that tough talk and all that braggadocious. What has it gotten him?
Yep.
And that's what he doesn't get. Ryan Leaf said something a couple of weeks ago, Skip. He said, I see a lot of myself in this kid. You remember, Skip, rest his soul, Junior Seau had to come in and pull Ryan Leaf away from a reporter in a very similar situation. And you see this. His play doesn't match up for the tough talk. I get it. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm who I am, accept me who I am. But, bruh, you play. The Cleveland fans should be offended. Everybody, I think what has happened, Skip, he started to read those press clippings. Baker Mayfield threw for more touchdowns as a rookie than anybody. The betting money is on Baker Mayfield to be MVP.
Yep.
The money's on them to win the division, yada, yada, yada. Skip, all that, that's fine and good. The press clippings are great, but you got to play football. And again, and how did he get his message out, Skip? What did he do? Go tweet it. That's social media. Here we go again, Skip. He just can't let it go. He can't let it go. Just leave it alone. Okay, you made your point. Now, I wish he'd have handled the situation because Deshaun Watson had a very similar situation, Skip. They asked him what was going on. He said, do you understand the coverage they were playing? Because they lost to Carolina.
Yeah.
He said, they were playing quarters. They were playing cover 2. Sometimes they played cover 6. They buzzed it down. They dropping the safeties, getting wide. Kinkley was back, jumping everything that come across the middle. So we had to go us. He explained it to him. I hate when guys, and Skip, I know you've experienced this. You don't play, so you don't know. Bro, I get all that.
Yeah, he reached for that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Baker. They say the quarterback is the CEO of a corporation. It's hard for me to envision or see a scenario in which a corporation will ever be successful when your CEO displays this kind of behavior. It's just hard for me to see it. Not saying that it won't happen, but I don't see a scenario. I'm trying to think of a situation, Skip, in the 100-year history. A quarterback has exhibited this kind of behavior and has had success, team success in the NFL.
Well said. Agreed. There's one thing I know about the National Football League. More than any other league, it will chew you up and spit you out before you know what hit you, unless you earn what you're boasting about.
Yes.
Like if you can back it up on a consistent basis, everybody will leave you alone. But he's not backing it up.
No.
He backed it up last year.
Right.
He thought he'd earned his spurs, so to speak, where he was a made man last year. No, you're not made. You got Odell Beckham Jr. with Jarvis Landry, so now you got Shannon Sharpe Memorial expectations, and you have not lived up. You've lived way down.
Way down.
Okay, so I'm going to say it again. I still love watching Baker Mayfield play quarterback. I still believe he's going to be very good in this league. But he, to your point, has not been except for one little blip at Baltimore. And it was a great blip. Man, they won 40-25. They put 40 on that Baltimore. It's a pretty good defense. We'll see just how good Sunday night against Tom Brady and company.
Right.
But that day, Baker went 20 of 30 for 342. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Not bad. Didn't have a great QBR of 59, but still, that was vintage last year Baker Mayfield, right? Because last year, with a bunch of no-name receivers, except for Jarvis, he put on some shows. And it was all kind of out of the blue with little to no expectation, even though he was the first pick in the draft. He didn't even start the first game, thanks to Hugh Jackson. Okay, what do we know about Baker Mayfield? What does Jenny Taft know from covering all those Oklahoma games? He needs the chip on his shoulder.
Always.
If there's not a feud, he's going to start one. If there's no beef, I'll start it, and then I'm going to finish it on the football field. He needs that to motivate him. So we've seen him start things up with our Colin Cowherd. They went at it back and forth. He needs that. And now he's taken on Tony Grossi. Most people probably outside of Cleveland don't know Tony, but I've known him for a long, long time, and I've known his work for a long time. He's really good at covering the Cleveland Browns. He started in 1984 for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, covering the Cleveland Browns. In the early 90s, he became a Hall of Fame voter. He is credibility personified. And Baker, you can't try to talk down to him and say you don't know, because trust me, he knows a whole lot about the National Football League. And he was asking realistic, justifiable questions of a quarterback who's really struggling. He was actually asking a smart question. He wanted to know exactly what was Baker's mentality and mindset about a drive that failed, and Baker just didn't want to hear it because it's rubbing him the wrong way. How dare you ask me that question, Tony Grossi? Well, you're barking up the wrong tree here, because people in Cleveland, they know Tony Grossi's reputation, and they're going to start to lean toward his side of this.
Well, Skip, Grossi says, and many believe it stems from, he reported that Baker wanted to be flown first class for his pre-draft visits. So that would paint Baker as being a prima donna. How dare you fly the potential for number 1 overall draft pick? Coach!
Who wouldn't?
I'd want to be class
wait a
too.
second. What potential high pick wouldn't fly first class?
I feel like that would be only appropriate. I find
as soon as I got a little money, I can't remember the last time I flew. I've missed flights. Well, Mr. Sharpe, we don't have anything in first class. I'll wait till you do.
I'll wait.
I'll sit right in the airport until you do.
I can't picture you in the middle seat.
I'll be like Tom Hanks when he stayed in that airport for like years.
So John Dorsey would call Baker before the draft and say, I'm thinking about taking you first overall, but we need you to fly coach.
A lot of times, Skip,
that's not gonna happen.
You're that guy, they might even send a private jet to come get you.
Maybe.
Seriously. But you getting upset about that? Yeah, you damn right I want to fly first class. As a matter of fact, I want a nice king-size bed and a nice room, too, at the hotel.
I'll take this.
You get upset about that, Skip? Really?
Well, there's history. There's clear history between the two.
Right.
That makes sense. He also took offense to, he was down on Kyler at one point, saying that he was more like Johnny Manziel. Like, they've had a little beef.
Okay.
Because
but he just plays it for all it's worth.
Sure.
And he was playing it yesterday for his benefit. Like, I need some motivation. I need to sort of restart myself. And the only way I know to restart myself is to pick a fight with him.
Right.
Because people do like him, or they believe in what he says.
Right.
So if I take him on, maybe it will make me write a check that I have to cash on.
Well, Skip, the thing is, the guy's been there for 36 years. There's a good chance he's going to leave on his own terms. He's not going to leave because Baker Mayfield doesn't like him and the paper says, you know what? We got a new hotshot quarterback. We no longer want your services at this paper. If he's been there for that long, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, Baker, you need to understand that these guys are not going anywhere.
So, I'm going to read a quote out of The Athletic, the Mike Sando article on ranking quarterbacks, re-ranking quarterbacks at midseason, and this one was on Baker Mayfield from just an anonymous NFL evaluator. Here it is. Instead of identifying what he needed to work on to keep progressing, Baker made commercials. Unfortunately, it was kind of like what happened with RG3 going into his sophomore year. You know every player in the NFL sees it. You know it gets brought up, meaning in other locker rooms. Has this guy done enough to be on every other commercial? Now you have defensive players rubbing his nose in it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
you do.
That's how it works.
It's like we talked about. LeVar painted that huge target on Lonzo's back. Well, Baker, he's the one painting his own target.
Yeah, he drew that
right?
bullet out on his own back.
Right? And what have I told you? It does seem like every other commercial is progressive. Baker's house is the stadium, right? There are about 5 versions, and I told you that they shot 20 different versions of that commercial.
Right. And the thing is, Skip, what he doesn't understand is that, you might do a local. I'm sure Andy Dalton do local Cincinnati commercials. When the last time you seen Andy Dalton in a national spot? Baker, okay, you're doing national spots now, but keep this up. Keep losing and see how many more national spots. They show a Subway, all of a sudden, I ain't see RG3 eating Subways anymore. I ain't see him drinking Gatorade. I'm sure he still eats sandwiches. I'm sure he still drinks Gatorade, but he ain't in them spots.
No. And obviously, Robert got hurt.
Yes.
Badly hurt.
Yes.
And he had to start over, but he did a documentary, his self-shot documentary.
Wow.
On his rehab. Remember that?
And he still went and got married, went to the Kentucky Derby.
Yep. And it felt like, ego-wise, he went completely over the edge into, as I used to call him, either I called him RG me or RGIII instead of RG3, because it was all about him, man.
Right.
And he lost all perspective on who he was and how he needed to start over as a sophomore and learn under Mike Shanahan how to play football.
Right.
And then we've talked about his father went in. I think he went all the way up to Dan Snyder's office and said, we are now Peyton Manning.
Right.
We do not want to run anymore.
No more of that stuff.
Yeah, right? Okay. So Mike Shanahan worked miracles with Robert as a rookie.
Look at, do we have any doubt? Kyle Shanahan spends 2 years in Atlanta. One of those years, Mike Ryan wins the MVP, goes to the Super Bowl. Look at what he's doing in San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo. So his credibility as an offensive coordinator should be unchallenged.
Okay, but what the similar, obviously Baker didn't get hurt last year, but I do think this applies, that Baker started, it's not just feeling yourself or smelling yourself. You think you're one of the top guys already. Really?
Skip, what made Peyton Manning and Tom Brady is that every year defensive coordinators know, they go in, now we got to find a way to stop this guy. And these guys reinvent themselves. Tom Brady's been doing it for 20 seasons now.
Yep.
Without a blip, without a hiccup. Tom Brady didn't have this kind of ups and downs, these ebbs and flows. One game he played great, and then 6 games he played bad. One game he plays good, and the next 4 games he played. The great ones don't do that.
No.
Baker, stop reading.
Yeah.
Get off social media.
Yeah. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah.
What do you think he did that summer, that offseason?
He went to work, and he worked until the day he left.
Yep.
He's watching countless hours. I remember before they had the technology they have now, I would see John on a Monday and on a Tuesday leave with bag fulls of tape.
John Elway.
Yeah. Bag fulls of tape,
Wow.
Skip.
Man.
Nobody care about that Heisman, Skip. Like I said, the more awards you come into the NFL with, Skip, we need to know why you got them. I need to know. Oh, you got the Butkus Award. Oh, you the Thorpe winner. You the I need to see.
Different target.
And guess what? And as soon as we play, bro, I don't know how he got that.
Okay, but as soon as he puts it on you, you'll be the first to stand back and say,
that's the Baker we want to see.
Okay.
Well, and you said that last season.
Yeah.
That is what you liked so much about the way he was playing.
Just go play. Hey, you can stop all this talking. Just go play. Just take care. 6 touchdowns with 12 interceptions, Skip. And second season with all the talent that he has. The way they can run the football, and you got 12 INTs with 6 tubs.
Yeah. His attitude right now is, do you guys know I hang out with Odell Beckham Jr.?
Okay.
Well, can you go win a football game with him? Because that's a tall task right
Yeah,
there.
that's what you need to do.
That's the only thing the media cares about. Those negative questions go away with wins. In a lot of ways, they get easier.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. They don't ask negative questions when you win the game, Skip.
But you're right. It's going to fuel him, Skip. If there's one thing we know about Baker, he is going to be fueled by this one, and would like to see a response from him.
No mercy.
So we're going to move on to Pro Football Focus because they have graded this year's rookies through the midway point of the season. And two of the top rookies are featured in tonight's Thursday night football matchup. The 49ers defensive end Nick Bosa came in second on the list, while on the other side of the ball, Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray is the 6th-ranked rookie this season. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs took the top spot, and the only QB higher than Kyler on the list is Gardner Minshew at 5. So, Shannon, do you agree with these rankings?
Nah, well, the one big disagreement I have is that Nick Bosa should be number 1.
Yeah.
I think he's not only the best rookie, he's one of the best defenders in all of football as a rookie. So he should be number 1. But I have no problem with Gardner Minshew being in front of Kyler Murray.
Okay.
I mean, the dude has 13 touchdowns with 2 picks. He's 4-3 as a starter. I mean, Kyler Murray is 3-4-1. He has 7 pass touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2 rush TDs, but he has 0 touchdowns in 4 of the last 5 games. Should there be even a debate there? I get it, Skip. Look, you don't get to be. It's not like the Lakers, Skip. The Lakers win the championship and they get to draft James Worthy number 1 overall. It's not like that in football. I mean, the New England Patriots doesn't win the Super Bowl and get to draft number 1 overall, Skip. So normally, if you were the number 1 overall pick, what do you expect?
Yep.
To go to a bad team. This is a bad team. And this is why I said, Skip, he's going to struggle because their offensive line is terrible. You don't leave the best offensive line and go to the worst offensive line and expect to have the same level of success. It's not like he's loaded with skill position players. David Johnson can't stay healthy. Now the running back that had the great game against the Giants, he's hurt. They traded for, Drake. Drake.
They did.
They traded for him. But, Skip, they're a bad football team. And Kyler right now, he doesn't have the capabilities to overcome a bad offensive line and the lack of talent at the skill positions. So I have no problem with the rankings. Minshew should be. And right now, if they were to vote, if the vote was today, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Josh Jacobs or Minshew would win that award. Kyler Murray would not even get a vote.
Josh Jacobs has been outstanding that I thought he would, and he's in a perfect spot where John Gruden would love to just run it down your throat. That's what he does best.
Right.
So I got you on that. But this is, once again, where you and I part ways because I still say the quarterback position is far harder to play than edge rusher.
Yeah.
So edge rusher works because he's really working, but that line is loaded with top picks. So he's getting more single coverage than some would in another circumstance where you went to a really bad football team and you had 3 people blocking you at one time. I don't think 3 people are blocking him.
Right. He's a rookie, and it's like, okay, you got to take him one-on-one. He's a rookie.
He's a rookie. Listen, what Kyler Murray has done as a rookie quarterback in this league is extraordinary. And I give you Gardner Minshew. But Gardner Minshew's team, I think you would agree, is considerably better than Kyler's team.
Yes.
You said it. Kyler Murray is 3-4-1. Did I think they'd be 3-4-1 right now? I didn't. I feared it would be 0-8 right now because you look down that schedule and I think you thought, I don't know if they can win a game, right? So they tied Detroit on opening day at home. Was that good? Detroit's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So they did. And Kyler was pretty good that day. And then he goes to Baltimore in his second start and first road start. And he played them straight up even. It went down to the wire. It was 23-17. He threw for 349 that day, but he took the L. So then they lost to Carolina. And Carolina's got a good defense, and it was hard on him that day, but he played like a rookie. He played really like a rookie against Seattle, but almost got them back in that game. Then here he comes, and he goes to Cincinnati and wins, and he beats a bad Atlanta team, but he still beat them. And then he went up and won at the Giants. These are not highly impressive wins until you think he doesn't have much help. He's throwing to Larry Fitz, who's on his, so to speak, last legs, right?
He on that scooter in Mexico.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's going there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what they can't protect him, and yet he doesn't turn the ball over and keeps them afloat in almost every game. At New Orleans, he actually played pretty well. And I've told you, for a young quarterback especially, that's the hardest building to play in against that defense. It's so quick and fast with such a hellacious pass rush. It's hard to survive there, and he threw for 220. He did not turn the ball over. So what does Pro Football Focus say about Kyler? He has the second lowest percentage of turnover-worthy plays in the whole NFL. Well, for a rookie, as it says here, that's an impressive feat. When you give him, you also have to give him props for what he doesn't do.
Right.
But he does not turn the ball over.
But in order to get touchdown, Skip, sometimes you're going to have to put the ball in harm's way. So that tells me that he's been either they're calling plays cautiously or he's being overprotective of the football, which means you got to throw the football down the field, you got to put it in harm's way. Okay. You got to.
But again, with this team and that line and that subpar group of receivers, what are you going to do? And the running backs are both hurt now, and they had to trade for another one.
But the thing is, Skip, their defense is not good enough to lock you down, and you win a 10-7 ball game, a 13-10 ball game. They're not that good, so you got to score points.
Man, I honor the fact that he is not coming completely apart.
No.
We see most of them just come apart, right? Daniel Jones, what's been his problem? He starts to turn the ball over. Yeah. And usually all the young star quarterbacks, their first year, they just turn it over like madmen, right?
Right.
Okay, well, he's not. So, to me, he's had the best rookie year. Given the degree of difficulty, how can you not love what he's doing?
Skip, what am I supposed 7 touchdowns with 4 interceptions? Almost doubled him up with 2 fewer INTs.
He is top 10 in QBR, Kyler Murray. He is 9th in QBR. Mm-hmm. That's extraordinary. Yeah. For a first-year guy with little to no help because he was the first pick in the draft to a bad team.
Right.
Really?
Garner Minshew.
Okay, but what about, is his coach a quote-unquote liability? Maybe a little bit because his coach has never coached in the NFL and lost his job coaching in college football because he went 26
Now, I would give you that if that was Freddie K. but Cliff Kingsbury has been a head coach for like 6 years. So he understands the ins and outs, the intricacies of being a head coach.
In Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, but that's what you still got to set schedules. Yep. So he's used to setting schedules and when we're going to leave and meeting times. Where the other guy had no idea.
But think about the target painted on Kyler's back because his head coach is known as one of those college sort of run and shoot guys, right? Yeah. So he's bringing his, newfangled, high-octane college offense in. How many defensive players have said, we're going to show Cliff Kingsbury how his offense works at this level? Am I right?
Skip, I just think he hasn't been great. He's been up and down. And I think Gardner Minshew...
I don't think he's been down. He's been up occasionally, and then he's just been ordinary, which is still pretty good.
He has 0 touchdown passes in 4 of his last 5 games.
Okay. I think touchdown passes are overrated. Do they score points and win games?
Yeah, that's how you get them quick.
Okay, well, they just won 3 in a row. As a rookie quarterback on the worst, what we thought was going to be the worst team in pro football, he won 3 straight games. You don't think that makes you the...
No, we already knew Miami was going to be the worst because they got the number 1 pick and they traded for the guy that helped them get the number 1 pick. Josh Rosen. So we knew that, and Fitzpatrick, you already know how that's going to turn out.
Okay. Has Josh Jacobs changed life in Oakland? No.
But they had some opportunities to win some games. They were in that game last week was theirs for the taking. And Deshaun Watson just was Deshaun Watson, and you know what happened, Skip. But I just think, look, I'm not saying that with some help, but I fault them because you need offensive line help, and you don't select an offensive lineman, I don't think, till the 4th or the 5th round. But you go out and get these shiny new toys. You draft them receivers and DBs. You better get that guy somebody that's going to protect the guy. That's the money. That's $34 million right there. And you got cashiers, you ain't got no security guard.
Okay, so tonight, that guy, number 97, is going to get unleashed on that little guy, right?
Yep.
And it's going to be probably a long night for Kyler, but I will bet you at home on national TV, I will bet you he'll keep them in the game.
You do?
Yep, they're 10-point, San Francisco by 10.
Okay.
Niners covering.
Yeah?
I'm
you think so? Easily?
They're covering.
Yeah.
They're going to get after him, Skip. That defense is for real. They built that defense for real. Buckner and Bosa and Thomas. Thomas is like the 3rd pick in the draft, and he's a rotational guy.
You saw what they did to the boy genius at L.A., to Sean McVay. They annihilated him.
Yes.
I just think Kyler will stand tall tonight.
And you realize the Rams Cooper Kupp is playing out of his mind right now. Yeah. And they got receivers now, Brandon Cooks, they had, and Woods, and they shut him down in L.A.
This is a fun one tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
And Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa says, I should have been the number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
Now, Skip, he's going into the show.
There's a little of that.
This is what you could have had.
Well,
Yes.
he tried to show Baker, planted the flag on Baker.
I was just thinking if there's any extra beef there, considering Kyler and Baker, their relationship, Kyler wanting to get, I don't know, maybe a little
think so.
history.
He just want to be number one.
One versus two.
I mean, Skip, it's always, one versus two, there's always, well, I need to show you why I went number one. Number two says, I'm going to show you why I should have been number one. So
We've got the undersized guy versus the guy we all feared would get hurt a lot. It's quite the dynamic. He did say, I am in the right place in the right defense. That is what Bosa said when asked about the one versus two.
That's like a thank you, God, for that one.
That is working.
No mercy.
Welcome back to Undisputed.
that's what I do.
What's happening?
I beat him and make him quit.
Where's this guy?
I beat him so bad he quit.
He is not quitting on us, Shannon. I'm sure he just got the commercial time.
You see all these tombstones? He in one of these over here somewhere. Rest in peace or in loving memory.
No, it has nothing to do with the tombstones.
Where is he?
For
For real?
I'm still here.
For real, Skip? Is this what we come to?
What is happening?
Is this what we come to, Skip? This is embarrassing.
I don't know what to say.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed for you. This is ridiculous.
I have an announcement to make.
Okay,
Goodness. I can't believe
let's
you.
hear it.
You know what?
What?
I don't want to make it to you. You're a LeBron lover. You would never understand. I want to talk to my people, so give me my camera.
Oh, my goodness.
Look, I will never forget what number 2 did to me and my San Antonio Spurs. He quit on my Spurs 2 years ago and quit his way right out of San Antonio. But you know what? Maybe it's time to forgive, to let it go, to let it be. Maybe it's time to do what number 2's Uncle Dennis asked me to do at the Manny Pacquiao fight back in August in Las Vegas on behalf of number 2. Uncle Dennis said, why don't you call him by his given name? So you know what? It's time. Here I go. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. You used to be my favorite player, and I must admit it here publicly. You started to win me back. My heartstrings started to tug when you said no to LeBron James back in July. You bamboozled the king. You took your talents to the Clippers. I loved it. And then you kept winning me back on opening night at Staples when you dominated Kawhi Leonard. You dominated LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So now, Kawhi Leonard, I am back. What it do, baby? And now for you, Shannon Sharpe, guess what these are?
Orthopedic shoes.
Not orthopedic shoes. These are the new signature Kawhi Leonards by New Balance. They are dropping today. I've got the first pair right here. In my career, I have never worn anything on TV but J's, Jordans, right? But today, in honor of, welcome back, Kawhi Leonard, I'm wearing his signature shoe. You like them?
No, this is embarrassing.
I like it.
You ought to be ashamed. Skip, you ought to be ashamed. I mean, Skip, you ought to be.
That felt good.
Skip.
Whew, that was cathartic.
You feel good?
You know what? I'm back. It feels like I'm back where I belong.
You should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, all these years of holding out now, you got no problem calling this man his name, so you should have no problem saying LeBron Goat James. You should have no problem saying that.
I will call him the phony goat. I give you that. Because there's only one goat, and I'm not calling this guy the goat, but he is really, really good. In fact, you know what? Kawhi Leonard is now so good that, dare I say, and this is another big reason why I'm back, he's now the best player on the planet.
Whatever.
Am I
right? No, you're not right.
Best
He's
player
not. No.
in the NBA.
No. Hold on. The best player. The guy, all of a sudden now, the guy that you love, have so much praise and adoration for, he quit on you. You told me he quit on you and you would never utter his name again. And he did it. Now, hold on. Now, is this...
He did it.
I just want to know one thing. Who hit the luckiest shot in NBA history in the playoffs?
I heard
Kawhi Leonard did.
Oh, he always
That is
Kawhi.
correct.
Oh, Kawhi.
And I still give you, he was very lucky to skate through the playoffs thanks to my man Joel Embiid getting sick and hurt and sick and hurt and sick and hurt. But guess what, Shannon Sharpe? He did it. I can't take it away. Who was the MVP of the NBA Finals? LeBron James? No, he missed the playoffs.
You said it should have been Kyle Lowry or Siakam, maybe even Van Fleet.
I did.
You said the guy
But who was it?
No.
Who was it?
I gave you a moment. I done gave you a 10-minute soliloquy which you heap praise.
I think it was 3.5.
Yeah, whatever.
He's
close
got
enough.
a response.
Hold on. But you said he wasn't clutch in the fourth quarter. You said it was Van Fleet and Lowry and Siakam. And now you come out here with this?
You know what? What have I also told you right here in this season?
What?
I'm seeing a new Kawhi
I
Leonard.
see nothing.
I see a new guy.
I see the same
I see
Kawhi.
different body language.
Guess what I did?
I see a guy who's in complete control of himself and the game. What did I tell you about the guy who used to be my favorite player in San Antonio? Sometimes I felt sorry for him. Shrugging shoulders, head down.
Oh, you see, hold on.
He played like this, like, am I really this good? Yeah, you're that good. Just be it.
Hold on
Do
just a
it.
second. Hold on. You say you see a different Kawhi.
Yep.
Did you see him last night? So I see the same Kawhi. I'm trying to figure this. Help me understand, Jenny, because I'm new into this. Because, I haven't worked in a place like
By the
this.
way,
Sure.
didn't see him last night because he didn't play last
Oh.
Yeah, my point. Thank you for making
Heard
my
that
point.
before.
I'm kind of new to this thing, so I don't really know. I didn't really know until I got here what PTO was, paid time off. I didn't know. I thought you had to accrue that. So I thought if you started a new job, it's not like you pick up where you left off with your old job. You get a new job, you got to build up. Maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 3 months. How the hell you 8 days in and you need time off?
Ask Greg Popovich.
I don't know about no Greg Popovich.
Yes.
That's you.
And by the way, who does Kawhi play against? It's weird saying his name because I taught myself
sounds
to say
good,
number
Skip.
two. Does it?
It
Good.
does.
It feels good. But guess who Kawhi Leonard plays at home tonight? Greg Popovich's team. Right?
Hold on.
And Greg Popovich taught him load management. The Spurs are built on load management.
Oh, so he load management 73 games and you had a problem with that. So now
That wasn't load management.
That was load management.
That was QUIT.
But you love a quitter. Oh, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't
He had a destination and a destiny. He wanted to take on the king in Staples. And it took going to Toronto first as a midway point stop. You had to kind of change planes in Toronto.
Yeah, he had a long
layover. Okay.
But you know what? I don't believe Kawhi quit, even though you said he quit, and I told you he had a quadricep tendinosis. But I'm trying to figure out, how does a guy that's fourth in minutes, Landry Shamet plays more minutes, Sweet Lou Williams plays more minutes, Patrick Beverly plays more minutes. Kawhi Leonard has a game high 32 minutes. That's the most minutes he's played this year. And that rascal, that joker, is already getting time off.
That bamboozler. He took LeBron for a big ride because all the reports said LeBron thought in July that Kawhi Leonard was going to be his new teammate. Am I right about that, Mr.
Oh,
Sharpe?
that didn't happen. I'm just trying to figure out, now all of a sudden, the thing that you criticize LeBron for, he wasn't clutch. He quit because remember, the fourth quarter, how he just let it go. Oh, and remember, that guy that missed those free throws down the stretch? You remember that, Skip? You had game 6-1. That guy, I don't want to know, was that...
It wasn't plural, it was just one.
That guy...
No, he just missed one.
Oh,
Ginobili wins the other.
That was one too many.
Okay.
That left the door open. But that's the guy all of a sudden now.
Up 5 with 18 seconds left, and you can't close the
Can't
deal.
close the deal. So I got to hit the luckiest shot ever. The guy that you said quit on your team missed 73 games.
Yep.
A guy that you said that wasn't in the fourth quarter. The guy that's load management 8 days into the regular season.
Yeah.
And now this is your guy.
Well, he is, because this is the way it's always been, because this is the way he was raised by Greg Popovich. But he wanted out of little tiny San Antonio. It's too small for him and Uncle Dennis, who's got big vision, big
Most people
signs.
don't turn on the people that raise them. You say he raised it.
Did Kawhi Leonard get a signature sneaker in San Antonio? No, he did not, because nobody really even knew who he was. And he has come out of his shell. But his shell was molded by load management.
Ain't nobody buying
Wait a
those.
second. Did he load manage last year in Toronto? Like crazy?
Yeah,
Like
he
the
did.
whole first quarter of the year, I've sat over here saying, he's not going to play again? He's not
The
gonna play
best
again?
ability is availability.
Okay.
And only 2 people going to buy those shoes, orderlies and security guards.
You think
Nobody
so?
that... Yeah, that's
They're
it.
blasting these shoes. I
like
You know
them.
what? They feel good.
Whatever.
You know,
I don't want a
I think
pair.
they're going to catch on and take off.
Oh, so now he gonna be.
Remember the commercial? It's now Kawhi Town, right?
Well, let's
Remember what was dangling from his keychain in the car as he started up?
I'm waiting for the day that he has a Kawhi 17, because that's where my guy. That's where GOAT James is.
Really?
Our signature. Only a handful of guys have had 10 signature shoes, and he ain't one of them.
Well, he ain't even in the ballpark with Michael Jordan's history-selling sneakers.
Nike didn't want him. Nike didn't want him. I got his 2-time Finals MVP. I got his 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Nike say, you're no good to us.
He goes
you
his
no
own
good.
way.
No suit for you.
He doesn't want to play for the Lakers. He wants to play for the ugly little stepchild, the Clippers. He wants to be a Clipper, and he wants to sell New Balance shoes. I will bet you these are going to make a big dent in the market.
That's like I'm one of the most gifted computer programmers, one of the most minds of all time, and I don't want to work for Apple or Google. I want to go for this little startup. Why they do that at?
Pave your own way.
I got to tell you, it does seem a little weird to me because in all my hardcore running days, you know what I wore? I wore New Balance running shoes.
We don't want it.
Because that's what they were.
All I know, my guy got $1 billion deal.
This guy
KD got $300 million. Steph Curry makes $25 million a year. What do you make? $100,000? What are you making?
Kawhi Leonard just turned New Balance into a sneaker destination.
Stop it.
Go read the internet right now. It's exploding with New Balance, new Kawhis. Yep.
And Nike, what they do, they trot their guys out there. They trot out LeBron. They trot out KD. What you gonna do? They trot out Jordan. Sure, they trot out Zion.
I'm hearing some real hate here.
You
know what? I'm hearing threatening. I think you got a new threat.
You're a team of one. You're a team of one.
All I know on opening night that LeBron and AD in the fourth quarter of a very winnable game in their house. It is their house, right?
No, that was the home game for them.
But they combined in their house. They're the ones who still own it. You told me that. They own it. They combined for 2 points. AD got shut out in the fourth quarter against that guy's team, and Paul George didn't even play yet.
I watched your guy go to Pepperdine, which is in Phoenix, and booked. He got booked.
Yeah. Because he was on load management. He only played like 28 minutes.
You know why? Because Booker got cooking. Book fouled out Pat Bev, and then when Doc said, Kawhi, go get him, Kawhi, like, all of a sudden, he couldn't hear. He talking about my knee hurt, my back hurt, my knee, my back, my neck, and my back.
Guess who's second in PER, player efficiency rating, in the whole National Basketball Association? That guy. Number two. He's number 2.
We second all time in PER.
Yeah.
We second all time.
Well,
not just this year.
You're not right now. You're tied for 14th, LeBron. Tied for 14th. My guy's second. He's my guy again.
You up here sitting
You
sitting up here in a Clippers jersey like that's something. That's not a thing. That's not going to catch on.
It's become a thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
By the way, Kawhi Leonard is shooting a career high 52% and a career high 84% from the free throw line. I don't know. I'm seeing a guy who is controlling the game. And what have I told you? He is playmaking like I've never seen him before.
Skip, what am I get you for the free throw line? You have to give me my due. You have to give me my due. I'm going to need my due because my guy going to shoot 75%.
Well, if you can make them against Long Beach State, that's one thing. But can you make them when you play the Clippers?
And they had the nerve to put a stat on the board. The guy that has the highest career win percentage, minimum of 400 games. Hell, he's missed 200 games. He should have a high win percentage because whenever his teammates catching that L, he on the bench.
When you are the best player on the planet,
he's not. Stop saying that.
Control your fate and make your deal.
Whatever.
However you want to make it. And he made it with Toronto. I need load management. They said, we're in. And he won them a championship. And then he said, Clippers, you really want me? I need load management. So they will load manage him all the way through the playoffs, right into the NBA Finals again.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Good luck with you guys.
Yeah, he bamboozled Toronto because Toronto laid out the red carpet for him. Gave him everything he wanted. Let his fiance and the baby fly on the team plane. Gave him everything.
Yep.
And guess what he did? Pretend like he was going back. And I told you, I said, he going back to get his stuff. He ain't going back to Toronto.
You think Toronto's happy with that championip they won? Maybe probably never win another one in history.
But don't worry about it. Y'all ain't going to win one either.
Yeah. Y'all just might.
Could talk about this all day.
So now you y'all.
I'm y'all.
Now you y'all. Now, okay.
I kind of like to
Oh,
shop
yeah,
with
it
this
is.
every
Honestly,
day.
it looks good.
Yeah?
I
Whatever.
feel like it's
You ought to
fitting.
be
I like
ashamed.
this.
This
and I
works. The
definitely
shoes
like
work.
these.
Shannon,
Man, get them
these
orthopedic.
shoes, heat
Get them
waves
orthopedic.
are what they're
Hey.
called. You're going to check them out?
Get them orthopedics off the
You gonna check
table.
them? They dropped today.
Man, hey.
I feel like you
like 'em?
might
As a
want to
matter
get
of fact,
on.
I saw a security guard the other day with a black pair on just like that.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Okay.
Either way,
Shannon, you're in trouble again. Here they come. Wait till Paul George comes back. Woo!
Orderlies and security guards.
Kawhi, I'm back. Uncle Dennis.
is
I
back.
did it.
Thank you for that.
But I thought you told me, Shannon, that's why you don't get close to people because it's going to be hard for you to critique them. It's going to be hard for you to say negative stuff. And Uncle Dennis come whisper in your ear and all of a sudden.
I talked to Uncle Dennis for like 2.5 minutes.
I don't care
in
if
the
you
middle
talk
of
to
the
him.
fight.
I don't care.
Can you do one more thing? Can you say his name again?
Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, it sounds good.
You know who loves it the most? My wife, because she still loves her some Kawhi.
There you go. That's what we're working
Well,
on.
I'm glad y'all-
Last night's World Series Game 7 brought plenty of drama as expected. The Astros looked to be in control, taking a 2-run lead into the 7th inning, but failed to score again after that. A pair of homers gave the Nationals a 3-2 lead, and they never looked back. Washington would add another 3 runs to win their first World Series with a final score of 6-2. The Nats put together this championship season after they let All-Star Bryce Harper go, sign with the Phillies in the offseason for $330 million. Every time I say that number, it blows me away. We're now joined by Fox Sports contributor Rob Parker.
By the way, very quickly, Rob did win a bet with our Chris Broussard, his radio partner, because he took the Nationals to win the World Series. Way to go, Rob. And
Yes.
you won a pair of
What'd you win?
Jordans.
A pair of Jordans that Chris can have to come out of his pocket.
You mean to tell me you don't want the Kawhi New Balances?
Yeah.
You don't want them?
You know
I
what?
looked at him. Look at that.
If you need to change the bet, I'm sure.
you know
we
what?
can work on
I'm
that.
gonna stick with the Jordans.
These would be out of Chris's price range, but that's
That's all right.
All right.
Chris
On that
is gonna be in
note.
trouble with his wife. 'Cause he's got to buy me
Yep.
Jordans.
All right, you're going to have to bring those shoes out next time you're here.
Yes.
But, Rob, what does it tell you that the Nationals won without Harper?
I know it's easy. I know everybody's going to bang on Bryce Harper. It's very easy. Oh, he left, and now they won the World Series. They didn't need him. Bryce Harper had a very good season with the Phillies. Career high in RBIs, 35 home runs, second most. He did what he normally does. When you get to this point, the World Series, and trying to win big, it always comes down to the same thing. Pitching and defense, not hitting. Astros had the better lineup, right? They couldn't win
I
one.
mean, it didn't look like it.
No,
all
it
the time,
didn't. But on paper, I'm saying they did.
Okay.
Hey, Juan Soto is
When they
serious business, though.
Oh no, he's a great player,
Yeah.
and he's only 20, just turned 21. Look at when they beat the Dodgers. Who had the better lineup and the more potent offense? It was the Dodgers.
Okay.
But here we saw the pitching. Strasburg, that first overall pick, who they didn't play in the playoffs early on in his career. And remember, he was criticized
Put him on
big
a pitch
time.
count.
Yep.
Exactly, and he
Right.
didn't play in a chance when they had a good team to win the World Series. He came through big. That's why he was the MVP of the World Series. He won 2 games. Game 6 in Houston for all the marbles, right?
Yep.
Could have been eliminated. You saw Corwin also last night pitch great in relief.
He did.
And Scherzer, right, had a bad neck, was scratched from a World Series game.
Right.
He shows up,
He
and what does
pitched
he
his
do?
guts out.
He
Yeah.
pitched his guts. You hold your opponent to 2 runs on the road. You give your team a chance to come back. So when you look at it, I know everybody is very easy. He's gone. You didn't have to pay him the $330 million. You won in spite of him. But I'm telling you, if Bryce Harper would have been on that team and on that roster, it might not have been 7 games. It might have been 5 or 6.
Or they might not have even got there.
You know what I mean? What are you talking about?
You might not have got there.
No, they would have got there. Their pitching is the reason that they won the World Series, not hitting.
For me, when I look at baseball, Skip, stars do not have the same impact in baseball as they do basketball because I believe stars have the bigger impact. It goes basketball, football, baseball. Because if Mike Trout can't get your ass to the playoffs...
I agree with. I was just going to bring that up.
If he can't get you to the playoffs, you ain't going.
We saw that with Barry Bonds, right? They couldn't win a World Series.
I'm going to get to that in just a second. That was going to be my first point.
And I got that, Skip.
Yep.
All those years Barry Bonds was in San Francisco, they went to the playoffs 4 times. The season that he hit 73, they didn't make it. In 3 of those 4 times, they got put out in the first round. Now, if Barry Bonds is a star and he can't win you a World Series, what you think Bryce Harper gonna do?
But why couldn't Bonds? Because it's always what I just said. It has to do with pitching, but the reason that they won isn't because Bryce Harper wasn't on the team.
Right.
That's all I'm saying is that people are going to say, oh, they won because they didn't sign Bryce Harper. That's not why they won.
Well, what the Nationals did better than the Astros is that they got timely hitting. You know, obviously you need pitching. But, Skip, you look at the 6th and 7th, when they were down, you know, and all of a sudden it's 3-2, it's 6-2. When you hit matters. You know, you can get, you know, hit first couple of innings and then go cold, and then the other team, all of a sudden, they find their bats in the later innings, they go on and win the game. And that's what the Nationals were able to do. They were able to find their bats later in the innings when it mattered, and they came through. Look, in baseball, look, I think, who was that? Charlie, one of these great general managers says, guy wanted the Rays. And he's like, I hit 50 home runs, I got all these RBIs. He's like, what place did we finish? He's like, we finished the last. He's like, well, hell, I can finish there without you.
True.
Bryce Harper.
Okay.
They let Bryce Harper take his $330 million, and then what made it so bad, Skip? He got to the Phillies, I'm going to bring a championship.
But what didn't the Phillies have? They didn't have the quality pitching that
he
you
actually,
need.
in his introductory conference, he misspoke and said, I'm going to bring a championship to D.C., and he did.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He brought it.
Well, he did.
And now he looking at like Baker Mayfield was looking at those shoes that Odell handed off.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go total cliche here. And for the young people watching us right now, I want you to take note of what happened last night. A road team, for the first time ever in the history of sports, won a 4th road game to win a 7-game series. It's never happened. And what happened at the bottom line was that the Nationals became a we, and with Bryce Harper, they were a he.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
A we. And we saw them doing little kid, high schoolish sort of celebrations in the dugout.
Oh, I know the driving. They was driving this.
You know, and then every time somebody hit a home run, he gets to walk the little gauntlet, and then they're all they're dancing and they're having fun because it was a big we thing. It is extraordinary what we pulled off because they were down in every series.
Yes.
They had to beat Hader. They had to beat Kershaw. They were, and I know he's had his problems, but still, they were in huge jeopardy. They started the season 19-31 without Bryce Harper, and everybody's saying, see?
I was going to say, when they were 19-31, everybody didn't say they didn't need Bryce Harper back then.
All right, but the great thing about sports is that a team can just sort of mysteriously, inexplicably take off. And then all of a sudden, once they get on a roll, they think they're going to come back and win every game all the way to Game 7 because it looked like for a while last night they were in huge jeopardy.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, one thing leads to another, and it comes down to Howie Kendrick just hitting a little slice home run. He didn't hit that very well, and it was the key hit of the game against Will Harris. And they had Garrett Cole ready to go, but they went with they danced with who brung him because Will Harris has been lights out through the playoffs. That's his role. So I don't love pitchers getting thrown into some weird relief role. So he comes in, and what happened? It's like meant to be.
Yeah.
He hits a slice down the right field line that just catches the foul ball.
Yep.
Okay?
And he also had the big grand slam against the
It was
Dodgers.
huge.
Howie Kendrick, this dude.
Okay, I got all that. I'm going to defend Barry Bonds because I covered Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds lifted, that was a mediocre team with mediocre pitching, and he did lift it all the way into a World Series against the Angels, in which they had them. I don't know if you covered it.
I covered it. 2002.
Dusty Baker, what were you thinking? Because he made a pitching change, and I don't want to get, but he took the start. It's like, what are you doing? You've got it.
They got it.
You got it.
Game 6 was it.
And Barry Bonds is up there kind of messing around with the pitcher at home plate because they all thought they had it. But he was the one who lifted him. He was a game changer. He batted 500. He was the greatest hitter I ever saw.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
No.
When you look at those years of his walks to strikeouts to home runs, it was impossible. Had the greatest eye at the plate we've ever seen.
One pitch.
And also, in a weird way, and I covered those teams, he was a natural-born leader by example, not by deed, because he was difficult with the media, but just the way he carried himself. I know his team. I talked to all of them. They would look in the dugout like, we got Barry Bonds, and they don't.
Right.
So we're going to.
I never heard anybody, players, not respect him as a ball player.
Yeah, Buck Showalter walked the guy with the bases loaded.
Yes.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Okay, and he did win 8 Gold Gloves.
8 Gold Gloves, yeah.
Okay, to me, he was the greatest.
7 MVPs?
Greatest position player ever, and that's to me not even close.
Yeah.
So he lifted mediocre teams to as far as you said that he lifted.
Right.
Bryce Harper doesn't have natural-born leader in him. To me, he's a solo act. And you can differentiate because solo acts, and I like Trout, but I don't feel leadership from him. I don't feel like he's changing their life where they say, we've got Trout and you don't. There's something, because Barry had mystique about him. Barry, through that 1 year that I covered when he was sitting in 73, he would get maybe 3 pitches a night, 2 pitches a night, and whatever they were, he would hit them hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
One might leave the ballpark.
One might leave, and the other one might hit the wall.
It's going to McCovey Cove. They don't even show McCovey Cove anymore.
Right.
So the bottom line is Bryce Harper is not Barry Bonds.
No.
I'm sorry.
But he's not. I'm gonna defend Bryce Harper. He is a talented baseball player. If the Phillies get their pitching in order, that team and that lineup I like. I think if people are going to poo-poo, I believe that Bryce Harper will be a part of a team that wins a championship. With the reason he hasn't been able to do that to the point and why Washington failed all those years before is because they didn't get the lights-out pitching and the big pitching that they got in this series. Right. Strasburg, they all did.
5-0 in the postseason.
Nobody's ever done that.
Nope. Okay.
I mean, that's how you win, Skip.
Meanwhile, your guy Verlander goes to 0-6 in the World Series. Way to go.
For whatever reason, he pitches well in the playoffs all the way up to the LCS. World Series, no good.
No good.
It's tough. That's tough. All right, Rob, we'll bring you back
By the way,
in a bit.
congratulations to the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
That was riveting stuff. I totally agree.
Yeah, seriously,
I'll
really
root
good
for the
stuff.
Nationals. Because the Astros beat the Yankees.
Good point.
Thank you for that.
You think I'm going to root for you after you beat my team?
I got you. I understand.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers is getting MVP buzz after throwing 8 touchdowns in the past 2 games, leading Green Bay to a 7-1 start. He's ranked 5th overall in the latest Pro Football Focus quarterback rankings. Right ahead of Rodgers is Tom Brady at 4 and failing to make the top 10. Dak Prescott, who grabbed the 11th spot on the list. So close. These rankings were based off of last season's grades, including playoffs as well as all 8 weeks from this season. So, Shannon, do you agree with the rankings?
Hell no. And see, I've told you this, Jenny. All they do is confirm what I've been telling you. They always try to find a way because they're always going to go back to try to find a way to get Tom Brady into this ranking. We're going to bring in last year. We're going to bring in the playoffs from last year. Anybody that's watching the games this year through the first 8 weeks that thinks Tom Brady is outplaying Aaron Rodgers is grossly and sadly mistaken. And I got a problem with this. Last year is last year. Tom Brady won another Super Bowl. Tom Brady was phenomenal last year. But this is not about last year. Stop trying to find ways to get Tom Brady into every ranking.
You think this is all about Tom Brady? You think they said, let's try to figure a way to rank Tom Brady above Aaron Rodgers?
Well, why not go back 10 years and get Peyton Manning in it? Why not go back even further? Why stop at 1 year? Why just do last year? Why not the year before?
Because they're trying to show your progression over the last 24 games or 24 weeks.
They don't do that with any other position. They don't do that with DBs when they rank DBs. They don't do that with running backs. They don't do that with offensive linemen.
What is the position?
It don't matter. That's not what the debate is, the position. My problem is that what they do to get Tom Brady continuously in these rankings. Because if you just rank it this year, and I'm talking about this year.
Well, they do. Pro Football Focus has a weekly ranking. And Aaron is 4th, and Tom Brady is tied for 6th. Okay. So it's not huge. It's not 4th versus tied for 6th. So there's one place in between them. I don't know. I'll give you that. He's had a slightly better year.
So not by this? Not by this he hasn't.
Okay, but it brought in last year.
But I don't want to bring in last year. Skip last year.
Well, they did it. Okay, well, they did it. You can't stop it. They already did it.
It is bull jive.
Bull jive?
Bull jive. So guess what? Tom Brady be retired. Well, if you factor in last year, before Tom Brady retired and this year, Tom Brady's going to be the 5th best quarterback.
Okay, help me out. Who had the best or the better year last year? Just last year.
Tom.
Yeah, Tom did.
But guess what, Skip? Aaron Rodgers was hurt. Did they factor that in?
Did he play?
So that's how they're doing it now. Okay.
Shannon Sharpe tells me, the Hall of Famer says, if you play, you're not hurt.
I'm going to need that energy. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah. So don't you mention anything about Tom Brady's calf. Don't you mention anything about Tom. No, yes, you did.
But I haven't spoken.
Yes, you did. You mentioned it earlier because we talked about the quarterback sneaking, which Pat Mahomes got hurt. And I better not hear anything about shoulder. I don't want to hear nothing about Tom Brady was limited in practice by the shoulder because He gonna play on Sunday.
I'll bet he will.
Yeah.
I'll bet he'll play well.
Yeah, so I want to hear that.
Talk about that in a minute.
But you need to stop this, Skip. This is ridiculous.
I didn't start it. They did. It's Pro Football Focus. So, again, if you do go back, just remember, Aaron Rodgers missed the playoffs last year.
Skip, he was hurt.
Tom Brady put on a show through the postseason, whether you accept it or not. You picked the Chargers. He lit up the Chargers. 33 of 43. It was outrageous how great he was in that game, right?
He played great.
And in overtime at Patrick Mahomes, how did he do? He converted 3 straight.
Did he outplay Patrick Mahomes? Did he have a better QBR than Patrick Mahomes? Did he throw for more? Did he? I mean, I'm trying to figure.
Quote the great Shannon Sharpe, who ate at your restaurant.
Oh, so that's not what we're doing. I thought QBR was the standard which we used. Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's the point. Tom Brady obviously had the better year last year. He had the better playoffs because the other guy wasn't even in the playoffs. And remember, for the first 3 weeks this year, Pro Football Focus ranked Tom Brady first of all the quarterbacks in performance through the first 3 games. So that's pretty good. So he's faded off to tie for 6th.
Why?
Okay.
They haven't lost a game. How do you fade if you don't lose a game?
Now let's talk about, shall we, degree of difficulty. Who has the better offensive line, the better pass protection, Green Bay or New England? Help me out.
Green Bay.
By far.
Yes.
Who has the better receiving core? Green Bay by far.
No.
Tom's been throwing to Jacoby Myers and Gunnar Olszewski and Brandon Bolden.
And guess what? All of those guys are undrafted free agents, just like Geronimo Allison, just like Kumaro, just like Lazard. Come on with me, Skip.
Okay. Does Tom Brady have an Aaron Jones? Help me out, because he's the real MVP of the Green Bay Packers.
Sonny Michel.
Really? He used to.
Oh.
He had him last year, but I don't know about this year.
Oh, hold on. What did he last year? So let's use last year's rankings to bring into this year. I like that. 3 consecutive 100-yard games for Sonny Michel. I need you to bring that. I need you to bring that into this year. Okay.
Who's had more help this year? Well, clearly, Aaron Rodgers has had Aaron Jones, and Tom Brady, wait a second, is down his starting center and his starting left tackle. So he doesn't get pass protected, and they don't have much, if any, running game compared to what they had.
You didn't say that last year when Brian Bulaga went out. You didn't say that last year when Bakhtiari missed time.
Okay.
You didn't say that about the offensive line.
Yep.
Now with Tom Brady, it's the offensive line. But hold on, let me ask you a question. Who's had the more difficult of the schedules? Who have Tom Brady beat that's comparable to, let's just say, Minnesota?
Their schedule is...
Well, I give you, Green Bay did have one bye week at Dallas. I'll give you that one.
They did.
A bye week.
Is that what you call it?
Okay, a bye week. So who on New England's schedule is comparable to the Cowboys that the Patriots will beat?
Nobody yet. Not yet.
Easiest schedule
so now,
league right now.
You know what, Jenny? I'm funny that you mentioned that. Pro Football Focus said the New England Patriots had the easiest schedule the first half of the season.
Okay.
Do they factor that in?
No, they do not.
Oh, why not?
The degree of difficulty is extraordinarily high for the New England Patriots, especially the quarterback, because he lost Gronk and they haven't replaced him at tight end. They tried 2 new tight ends, Ryan Izzo and Lacoste, and they're both hurt and out, and they brought back 38-year-old Ben Watson. That's all you got at tight end? Yeah. They cut him, and then they had to bring him back.
Okay.
That's all you got? They tried AB for a little while, and Tom Brady was a happy camper.
Yeah.
And then he lost him. And then he lost Josh Gordon. And now he's got Mohamed
Josh
Sanu.
good, eh?
Okay. Well, for a little while, but it's not for long. So I have no idea how he's gotten them this far. But on degree of difficulty,
you do know how.
I don't.
Skip, the teams that he's playing, really?
Okay, well,
the Jets?
The teams they have dominated on defense, similar, right?
Yes.
Like they haven't really been tested.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. I think Baltimore will test them a little bit more than they've been tested, right?
I mean, Kansas City.
Yep. Which brings me to the 11th ranked quarterback, and you sort of like the fact that he's 11th, right?
I can't count that. I can't count that high.
Can't count that high. That's my guy, Dak Prescott. So again, by their criterion, what do we see here? Dak Prescott started off last year 3-5.
Okay.
I don't know how it happened, but they had the driving force, completely healthy, Ezekiel Elliott, and they fell to 3-5. Maybe he's not that great. I don't know. Shannon Sharpe says he's the reason they win games, but he wasn't the reason they fell to 3-5.
But I love how you say that. You say Zeke is not the reason they win games, but they lost 3 games this year, but he's the reason why they lose.
We have heard that.
I'm trying to figure that. I mean, come on, Skip. I mean,
okay, so then Dak gets docked for that in this ranking.
Okay.
You're using last year plus this year, but the back half of last year, he took off once they got Amari Cooper.
Well, hold on. with the numbers that you read, completion percentage and air distance and touchdowns, how is he ranked 11th? If Pro Football Focus is so accurate?
Because he had such a hard time for the first 8 games last year, it cost him spots. Because what have we seen just this year? Can I read a line from Dak's little capsule here?
Yeah, sure, read it.
This is about this year, and this is in their rankings under his 11th spot. Dak Prescott is leading the league in percentage of positively graded throws. Can I say that again? Leading the whole NFL in positively graded throws. Yet, the man across from me says he's not accurate. He's a marginal quarterback. I'm quoting you from yesterday. He's an average quarterback who doesn't consistently deliver the ball where it's supposed to be. Yet, this is telling me that they are grading every throw, and no quarterback has as many positively graded throws as my quarterback, who says Shannon Sharpe is inaccurate.
Well, then
How can that be?
Well, why does he keep making reservations at my restaurant?
Oh, yeah.
With all them positive throws, with that completion percentage, with Amari Cooper, why does he keep coming to me?
Because Pro Football Focus ranks the Dallas defense 12th in the NFL, which isn't bad, but it's not great. It's not measuring up to the quarterback, who, by the way, also leads the whole NFL in QBR.
Skip,
the whole league.
Actually, your quarterback is right. Come on, hold on. If I'm not mistaken, Pro Football Focus, you just read say he's 11th. The defense is 12th. I think that's pretty comparable.
Okay, but the defense is 12th this year. He's 11th considering last year with the 3 and 5 start.
Right, and that's what the defense is.
Okay, no, the defense is ranked 12th right now this year off the first 7 games because they're 4 and 3.
Look.
Okay. So you're going to have to give in to the fact that my quarterback is playing at an extremely high level.
10.
Well, again, right now, Pro Football this year, they rank him 2nd. Russell Wilson, 2nd this year. If we just do this year,
if anybody,
that's what you want.
If anybody thinks Dak Prescott and Tom Brady has outplayed Aaron Rodgers, has outplayed Patrick Mahomes,
okay, I didn't say Tom Brady, but Dak Prescott has definitely outplayed Aaron Rodgers. He is just all the numbers scream that he has.
Don't.
Sorry.
Skip, 16-2, 12-7. Look at the, come on, Skip, look at the yards.
Aaron Rodgers is 8th in QBR. Dak is 1st. Okay. Really?
Skip.
You're running out of ammo.
No, I got that, Skip. I got ammo. I got 7-1. You got 4 and 3.
Huh. Well, you got Aaron Jones and I don't.
No, you got Zeke.
Huh. Well,
a guy that's led the league in rushing 2 of the 3 years he's been in the league.
Doesn't have that breakaway burst anymore. He's a sledgehammer. He's part fullback.
But that's how you break rocks. Okay. You break rocks with sledgehammer. You know what I'm saying, Skip?
Yeah.
I mean, there are different types of hammers. There's a sledgehammer and there's a tack hammer.
Who's leading the NFC East right now? Thank you.
Who's leading the NFC North right now? Thank you.
So?
7-1.
Okay, well, you should be with 7-1.
7-1.
Yep.
Hold on, but right behind us is 6-2.
That's what I like to hear.
Okay.
Keep bringing that up, Shannon.
No mercy.
The Jets took calls on safety Jamal Adams at the trade deadline earlier this week, and the Pro Bowler is taking it personally. Adams tweeted that the team went behind his back after he told the organization he wanted to stay in New York. Yesterday, Adams had an interesting way of explaining his frustration. Take a listen.
I didn't take that lightly. I really didn't. But you know, when I heard that I got the call, that my agent called me and he told me what was going on, you know, it definitely hurt me. It hurt me. I hold myself at a high level. You know, the Rams don't take calls on Aaron Donald. The Patriots don't take calls on Tom Brady. You know what I mean? That's where I hold myself in that regard.
Shannon, what does this tell you about Jamal Adams?
Skip, Jamal's my guy. You know, he calls me uncle. I love Jamal. But Jamal, bro, you're not there yet. The biggest difference between you, forget athletic ability or size, Skip, and what they've been able to accomplish, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in Aaron Donald, the preeminent defensive player in all of football, Tom Brady, we don't need to say what he's done. Guess what the difference between the Rams, the Patriots, and the Jets? Those 2 guys you mentioned, they're winning, Jamal. Because the Jets are saying, you know what, Jamal, we won 1 game with you. We probably can do that without you, and we can get compensation for you. That's the way they look at it. Jamal, this is the NFL. It stands for, Jerry Glanville says it stands for not for long. They traded Joe Montana, Emmitt Smith, Bruce Smith, Shannon Sharpe, Skip. Jerry Wright, USA Today, voted Jerry Rice the greatest football player to ever live. The San Francisco 49ers cut him.
They did.
Jamal, bruh.
And he was, by the way, Jerry was so upset about it, he went right across the bridge and played for the Oakland Raiders.
And put up monster numbers.
He did.
Jamal, I get it, bro. It's painful to know that a team that... And I almost got traded. Twice! Almost got traded in the offseason to the Cardinals after the 95 season, and then almost got traded in 99, Skip. We played the Raiders. They were going to trade me that Tuesday. I broke my collarbone. Trade didn't happen. They were going to trade me to Green Bay. Jamal, and it hurts that you put so much time in it. And Skip, I'm looking at it, bro. I'm a 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 1 Super Bowls. And he's like, you know what, Shannon, we'll be better without you than with you. So it hurts. But, bro, you can't get that upset about it. You can't just say, hey, they probably, guess what, Jamal? They're probably going to revisit this in the offseason.
Yep.
I'm just preparing you for it, bro. You know your aunt going to keep it 100 with you. They're going to revisit this offseason. You're probably going to be on the move.
Quick point of order about the Patriots. I'm not sure the Patriots haven't taken calls on Tom Brady.
He missed the Jimmy G. Tom Brady situation
Missed
2
it.
years ago. He missed that one, Skip.
Yeah,
But
there's
so
something going on
Don't bring
there.
that up, Skip.
And Belichick was ready to push old Tom right out the back door to the highest bidder, maybe, trade. I don't know. You don't think he took a few calls?
Of course.
You don't think he made a few calls?
Tom Brady went upstairs and talked to Mr. Kraft for a reason.
He did. Okay. So, I don't love Jamal. He doesn't call me Unc. He calls me other things.
Yes.
That we can't say on TV.
Not on TV.
But yesterday, what he said is exactly why I am so happy he's not a Dallas Cowboy. Because that's the essence of Jamal Adams. That's what I don't love about him. And again, Josina Anderson of ESPN reported that he, or at least his people, were pushing for him to get traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Right. And again, you made the point of order, which is that, hey, maybe it came after they were apprised. Wait a second, they're maybe
y'all tried
shopping,
to move me?
But yeah.
Can y'all get me
move
down?
me there?
Right.
And again, everything made such sense, and I got my hopes up just a little bit because he's a local kid from Carrollton, right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I assume he would love to be a Dallas Cowboy. And would he fit? Sure. Do they have a little bit of a need? Maybe you could even go to glaring need at safety, a strong safety with Jeff Heath. He's been pretty good, but is he this guy? He is definitely not this guy, the 6th overall pick, who's a little faster, hits a little harder, changes games a little more than he does. But the problem with Jamal is he has lost all perspective on who he is so far. I mean, this is borderline Baker Mayfield stuff where you are way overestimating how the league views you.
Right.
You're not that guy.
No.
Really?
Aaron Donald. But Skip, did he just miss last year? They traded Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was the defensive player of the year and they moved him. Jamal, nobody is untouchable. If somebody offered enough, call the Rams and say, we'll give you 4 first-round draft picks and 2 twos for Aaron Donald.
All right. So what do I love the most about my Cowboys? Chemistry. Unity, fit.
You do.
There's no diva that I'm aware of. Maybe there's somebody inside, but not outside.
Right.
And usually the diva comes from the wide receiver position, and that's the most un-diva wide receiver in the league, right? In Amari Cooper.
Well, corner's got a little diva in them too.
Okay, they can, but my guys are pretty quiet.
But you don't have that level of you don't have that level of DB.
I don't know. Byron Jones is a Pro Bowl DB.
Yeah, but they don't.
Awuzie's got a chance to be a Pro Bowl.
I mean, if he was Gilmore playing for the Cowboys, maybe he'd have a little brashness.
Okay, but Gilmore doesn't seem to have any.
No.
Right?
They don't let you have that up in New England.
Okay. So how would Jamal have fit? I don't think he would have fit. And I told you yesterday, with an attitude and an ego like this, he's going to walk in saying, I want my money too, Jerry. If Zeke got that and they're saying Dak's about to get that, then I want that because I'm better than I'm Aaron Donald and Tom Brady.
You want a player to have confidence. You do. But I wasn't foolish enough to think I was on Barry Sanders' level. I mean, I wasn't no fool now. I thought I was a good player, Skip, but come on now.
So what's happened to Jamal? He's, again, internet victim to me because he his own ego has grown or been inflated by the feedback he gets via the internet. And plus, he's on a bad football team in which the Big Apple, Manhattan area media, they need a go-to spokesman, and he's become the spokesman of that team for better and for worse. But it's usually speaking for Jamal, not the Jets.
But the thing is, Skip, here's the thing. They're 10-29 since they've drafted him with the 6th overall pick. When you're on a bad team, everybody's expendable. I think the only guy that's probably untouchable right now is probably Sam Darnold. You see, they traded Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams was a high draft pick. He was. They've moved on from him. So when you're a bad football team, Skip, everybody becomes expendable, and what we're trying to do is get as much compensation, and we're going to rebuild a team in the image that we think we can win with. That's all this is about, Jamal. It's tough, because I've gone through a very similar situation where they've tried to shop me. But, bro, you can't get this upset about it, bro, and let it take you out your game. Keep balling. But they're going to revisit this. This is not the end of this, Jamal. You know, as long as you understand that this offseason, this will be a topic again.
That's a good point.
I hope Jamal just listened to what Unc had to say, and if he didn't, maybe Unc needs to text Jamal and try to get his head back on straight.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
Not worried?
But he could help y'all, though.
No mercy.
Well, things got intense in Philly last night. Joel Embiid and Karl-Anthony Towns were both ejected after a shoving match escalated into a full-on brawl. At one point, Embiid could be seen putting his thumb in Towns' eye, and later teammate Ben Simmons had his forearm around Towns' neck in a chokehold. After the game, Embiid said the incident happened out of nowhere, and since he didn't throw a punch, he does not expect to be suspended. He also said, quote, "I like to get in people's minds." Rob Parker is back with us. Rob, what is your reaction, your takeaway from this fight?
You know, there's the buzz that there's a long-standing thing going on between these two. That's what it has to be. And maybe it is the way that they look at the two people, right? Embiid is looked at a certain way in a much more positive light. And even though Cat puts up numbers, he's on a bad team that really hasn't done anything. He's kind of considered weak, right? Softer. And I think that there's some of that, and he feels like, I'm not going to be pushed around by Embiid. And I can see where you got two big guys, two giants. You're battling for position all the time, right, in the paint. There's a lot of contact. I just think that's what it – because there was nothing from really the game that I saw where that would cause an incident like that. This has to be something that these two guys are struggling with as we go over time.
Well, I mean, I could throw out and start a rumor and say it's probably about a female, but I ain't gonna do that.
Where you gonna put that? You got some inside information?
No.
You know what? It often is.
But
just going back to Jason Kidd and do you remember that? With
Not sure. I hadn't read any of that.
Jim Jackson?
I don't know.
Skip, you know, I think the thing is, this goes back, and they've been beefing a little bit. It goes back, I think, 2017. They've been kind of going back and forth on social media. And a couple of years ago, for 2 years running, Karl-Anthony Towns, general managers, voted overwhelmingly. If I start in the team, Karl-Anthony Towns will be the guy I start my team with. Joel Embiid says, I'm the best big man in basketball. Well, the general manager says, we used to rather start our team with Karl-Anthony Towns. Well, there's some, for supremacy here. Joel Embiid is fundamentally sound, so is Cat. One guy's thought of being tough, the other guy's thought of being soft. And I think yesterday, Karl-Anthony Towns said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm finna drop anchor here. I'm not gonna let you shove me. I'm not gonna let you jerk your arm away and throw your hands up in the air, and everybody's like, man, Cat ain't do anything. So he says, you know what? Enough is enough. And he stood his ground. And maybe that is gonna take more than that. Because we talked about, Skip, yesterday, Anthony Davis playing through the shoulder surgery, soreness, because people perceive him as being soft, not being able to play through pain, not being able to play through injury. So he gutted it up, put a 40-20 in the shortest amount of time in NBA history. So I think that's what Cat's going through. But if you notice, Skip, every time Karl-Anthony Towns, everybody don't call him Karl-Anthony, they call him Cat. Embiid addresses him on social media is lowercase Cat.
Yeah, that's not good.
We're just a CAT.
That's not good.
But it's all lowercase. It's never Cat.
Right. It's not.
It's always lowercase. So he's needling him, even as he's not trying, but he's trying to. But you a cat, all right. You a little cat. You ain't no, because he calls himself a lion. He's like, he's a lion.
Well, his IG post, I was raised around lions and a lowercase CAT pulled on me tonight. LMAO. Like he's just laughing at it, right? Okay,
If that swing would have connected, I don't know if he would have been laughing.
Correct. So Woj has just reported that the Sixers brass has told the NBA that Cat, K-A-T, was the aggressor in the fight, that he started the fight. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw it the other way around. They did get tangled. It was a double team, and they did steal the ball from Cat.
Yes.
And the score was Sixers by 20 at that point,
Yeah.
with, 6:42 left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
6:42. So what I saw was arms tangled, and then Joel, who thinks he just sort of psychologically and physically dominates, they're tangled, and then he gives him one of these.
Right.
Like, get off me, little C-A-T.
Yeah.
And that was the moment of truth for Karl Anthony Towns, because every once in a while, you just have to stand up for yourself.
You got to.
And he
You got
did.
to. You got to.
We're not advocating Rudy Tomjanovich
Oh, no.
punches. Again, it wasn't really going to go anywhere, although some punches could have connected.
Right.
I don't know if they were thrown with connecting conviction.
But there was a real punch in
Yeah.
there. This wasn't like slapping and grabbing.
Yep.
I mean, there was a punch. And
I
I
got
don't.
it.
Ben Simmons too was down there. What is he? Now,
he headlocked him.
Cat is on the ground,
Right.
on your belly. You can't hit anybody in that position.
Right.
So what is he doing with a chokehold on?
I don't know. I thought it was a little out of line.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Shannon
Oh,
made
yeah.
the point that he should have a word with Ben before he.
Oh,
has a word with
absolutely.
I absolutely
Oh, yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
When I'm down on the ground, on my stomach, and you got a chokehold on me?
Right. I'm gonna reach. If I'm Cat, I'm gonna reach out to Rich Paul. Say, hey, Rich, I need you to put me in touch with Ben. I need to, he and I need to have a conversation. Yeah, we're gonna just have a conversation, bro. Hey, don't do that.
Don't choke me. What are you doing?
Don't do
Hey,
that.
Ben grew up in Australia. Maybe that's how they do it in Australia. I
He
don't
thought
know.
he was what,
Well,
playing
he ain't in
Australian
Australia.
rules football?
He ain't in Australia.
What was that?
You in America, and in America we don't do that.
So, in the end, I remain a big Joel Embiid fan. I picked him to be the MVP. I know it's a long shot, though Giannis has started airballing free throws. He airballed one last night, so I don't know. Maybe that's going to cost him a little stock as his stock falls. But the
And
point
they blew
is,
a 15-point lead.
Yep, they did, and lost pretty convincingly
yeah.
to Boston. So the point is that Joel has dominated him, and he dominated him again last night playing basketball because he is more physical, and he's just as gifted, but he's mentally tougher. He can make his free throws. He can just take over games. He is a closer for this team. I know they don't have Jimmy Butler now,
Right.
but again, he just can't. The one thing that concerns me about him is he can't give up the antics.
No, he ain't giving it up, Skip.
That's a part of him,
Yeah,
and
he is.
you're right. He's bought into it,
Yeah.
so now he can't let it go. And I think if he were to let it go, he probably could take his game to another level.
I would agree, because his line after the game was, I like to get in people's minds. Well, the truth is, you don't really need to, because you can get right in their grill as a basketball player. You can just dunk on them.
Normally, people that did that, Skip, Dennis Rodman did a lot of that because he's going up against Karl Malone, he's going up against Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale, guys that are more talented than him. So he had to do something to try to get them off their game. Well, they're not 5-10 players in the NBA that's more talented than Joel Embiid.
Nope.
A big guy that can shoot the three, put the ball in the basket, play post-up game. You foul him, he's making 80% of his free throws. So he doesn't need to do that, but he wants to do that. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman felt he had to do that in order to get that advantage. Kind of like Romo. Romo did a lot of things because he felt he was at a disadvantage talent-wise.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid,
Yeah, you're talking about
Bill Romanowski, yes.
Yeah.
Skip, Joel Embiid is as talented as any big that we've seen in the last decade.
He is. He's more talented than Dwight Howard.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Dwight can defend, he can block shots, but he's got no real post-up game.
No.
And Dwight tried to take basketball not that seriously.
Right.
And sometimes Joel does
He was
too.
Too goofy.
Too goofy, and Joel's got a little too much goofy. And he said before the year, I'm going to stop that stuff. And here we go.
Here we go again.
Hey, Skip.
But for him last night, he's got #fight night. Like, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad. I hope he has fun when he has to give up that money to the league, because there's going to be a suspension.
Well, I'll tell you what he needs to do, And both guys need to pay. Everybody that ran into that frame that's going to get fined, they need to pay that fine.
Pay that fine.
Everyone?
And
Yeah, because everybody going to get fined for running in there.
Yeah, but it was very telling that in his IG post he added Jimmy Butler because Jimmy was on the T-Wolves.
Like there's something there.
Well, but you know that he brought the stories inside, because Jimmy had no use for the T-Wolves as a team at the end.
Because it was reported that Jimmy took the backups and he beat Cat and he beat Wiggins with the starters.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler in the backup.
Yeah.
And he was screaming at the GM during practice.
And you want me to play, baby, you want me to play with this?
Yeah.
It didn't end well. It did not end well.
Did not well.
So the 76ers remain undefeated, and it was Minnesota's first loss of the season. So they'll meet again in March. This
Look, Cat
this
gonna
little
be ready.
meeting, yeah.
Oh, big Cat.
El Gato.
Capitalized.
I was
Rob,
bilingual, didn't you?
thank you for being here today.
No mercy.
Ravens tight end Nick Boyle claims New England isn't ready for Baltimore. Boyle said the Patriots have not seen an offense like theirs and have not faced a player like Lamar Jackson. On the Patriots side, Tom Brady was limited in practice yesterday with a shoulder issue, although he did tweet that it was because he didn't want to take off his Stormtrooper Halloween costume. So, Shannon, I know you love that one. Fox Sports NFL analyst Mark Schlereth joining us now. Good to have you, Mark. What shot to give the Ravens to beat the Patriots?
I'll give him a good shot. I tell you what, Boyle's a beast on the edge now. He is, from a blocking tight end, he is like an offensive tackle playing tight end. He is amazing. But I will tell you that covering and having covered this team, they are one of one that runs what they run. They're the only team in the league that can do it. And they are physical. They get numbers on you because they're a +1 situation where the quarterback runs the ball. But if you cut the field in half and you put a deep safety in the middle of the football field because you're playing 8-man fronts, you've got one side of the football field that has, 5 guys, one side that has 4 guys. You've got corners outside, right? They get players from one side to the next side. They've got a fullback, they've got a tight end that comes across, a receiver that comes across the formation. They've got a tailback that comes across the formation. And then all of a sudden, they're running with Lamar Jackson. So they're getting 6 on 4. They're getting 6 on 5. They're getting unbelievably favorable matchups in the running game. It's like nothing you see in the National Football League. So it's going to be exceptionally tough to defend. The other thing that happens to you is, you tell me, Shannon, how are you supposed to prepare for this when you're not allowed to practice in pads anymore, right? You're not allowed to actually get those fits. You don't feel those fits until you get into the run game, until you get into the actual game. So do they have a chance? There's no question they have a chance because they're uniquely built, and they're not asking Lamar Jackson in Baltimore to drop back 35 times a game and beat you from the pocket. They're allowing him to be exactly who he is, and it's revolutionary the way they're running the ball. They are creating runs that nobody has seen and nobody knows how to defend, and they do it every single week. And you got to tip your hat to Greg Roman, and you got to tip your hat to John Harbaugh because they're creating something that they're uniquely built. They're one of one, like I said.
You think about it, Skip, what did the Patriots have problems dealing with last week?
Nick Chubb.
Running the football.
Yep.
And this team will run the football. They do what they do. We run the football. Yes, Lamar Jackson can throw the football, but he's really gifted. Now, Coach Belichick's going to do a lot of things as far as disguise. Because, Skip, you can't run the risk of playing zero coverage and have him hit the edge. And he's gone. He's going to hit his head on the goalpost. So Coach Belichick's going to give him a lot of different looks. He'll think he's seeing cover 1, and it's going to be quarters, and they're going to bail out. It's going to be cover 6. It's going to be 2. You can't play coverage. You don't want to play any coverage where if he jumps out the window, he's gone.
Yep.
So Coach Belichick will spy him. I'm going to make him throw the ball. Coach Belichick normally takes away, what do you do really well? Okay, Baltimore runs the ball really well. He will try to put guys in the line of scrimmage to stop that and force Lamar Jackson. So you say you've improved throwing the football? Show me. Prove it.
Correct.
Prove to me that you, for 4 quarters, can throw the football consistently and accurately. And we'll find out because this is a very opportunistic defense. You put the ball up, they get their hands on it, they're coming down with it. If you put the ball on the turf, they're jumping on it or they're scooping and scoring. Another thing is that this is not the Baltimore defense that we're used to seeing, Skip. They don't get after the quarterback like they once did with Suggs and all those pass rushers. They lost Zadarius Smith. He was he's in Green Bay now. They did bring Pernell McPhee back, but they don't get after the quarterback like they once did. I think they're going to try to run the football, try to keep Tom Brady off the field. Because even though he's not playing to the level that we're used to seeing Tom Brady, he's still a hang 30 on you if you're not careful. And so I think that's what their game plan is. The same thing you see with Mahomes. Keep his butt on the field. Keep his butt on the sideline, and you got a great chance of beating him.
So I learned something from our man Mark Schlereth about one Nick Boyle, because he has not caught my eye yet, but you have broken it down on tape, and he is, to your point, a hellacious edge blocker.
Right.
And I guess he has helped spring Lamar on several of those escape runs, right?
Yep, sure.
So I now know his name because I think the New England Patriots really have zeroed in on Nick Boyle, and he has become bulletin board material for a team that loves bulletin board material. It feeds off it.
They do.
And I think that was the first mistake that Baltimore made, because I'm going to remind everybody, Baker Mayfield went to Baltimore and hung 40 on their defense.
Yes.
40 to 25 was the final score, and Baker had his one big day of the year. Okay, so what do you think Tom Brady potentially could do to this defense? Could he hang, as you said, 30, 35? Yeah. Are they still limited on offense? Sanu's still trying to figure it out.
Right.
That's really your only real threat at receiver. It's still Dorsett and a little bit of Jacoby Myers.
Edelman still moves the sticks.
He still moves. In fact, that's really the focal point of your passing game. But Sony Michel has not broken out yet, and I'm just betting you're going to see more of an offensive explosion from the Patriots this time. So it's hard for me to give Baltimore much of a shot because of what Shannon Sharpe just said. Lamar's going to see things he's not seen before. And this will be the measuring stick game for him, because I don't think they'll let him get out and run in this game. They let Nick Chubb get loose on them several times. He got loose, and I think they weren't ready for that. And I think they are working real hard as we speak to correct that.
I would say that they let Nick Chubb get loose because that wasn't their focal point.
That's what I'm saying. It shocked them. Yeah,
well, no, I'm saying they're like, if Nick Chubb's going to beat us, then Nick Chubb's going to beat us. Right. But we're not letting Odell Beckham Jr., we're not letting Landry, we're not letting the passing game beat us against the Cleveland Browns. So we'll give up 6 yards a carry. That's not going to be the focal point here. They're going to say, if Lamar Jackson can beat us from the pocket, then we'll tip our hats to the Baltimore Ravens and say, you guys beat us. But we're not going to I don't care. Bill Belichick will probably find a rule, some archaic rule that has never been exploited before, where you can have 14 guys on defense, right? He'll figure that out, but he will have a plan to try to shut that down. The problem is even when you get it done, and I called the Seattle game, and they did a great job for the majority of that game. Seattle-Baltimore game.
Got it.
So they did a great job for the majority of that game. People forget, they look at the final score and it's 30-13, right? It's 13-13 in the third quarter. And on 4th down and 2, they're going to kick a field goal. Baltimore is. And they're coming off the field, and John Harbaugh goes to Lamar Jackson, you want to go for it? And he goes, heck yeah, I want to go for it. Said, all right, let's go for it. They score an 8-yard touchdown.
Didn't he say he wanted to go for it?
Well, maybe he said he wanted to go for it. So they score an 8-yard touchdown. And then all of a sudden you get a pick 6 from Peters, and then a fumble recovery, and it's 2 defensive touchdowns, and they win that game running away. But the problem is, even when you have everything covered, like Shannon said, everything's done. That guy will break a tackle. That guy is so dynamic. He'll make a play, and when he gets out, you can't spy him.
Yeah.
You show me an athlete that can keep up with that guy. There isn't one. So, this is a guy that has no disrespect to Mike Vick. This guy is more dynamic than Mike Vick right now.
Yeah, I got it. And I think Mike Vick would be the first to
it's amazing.
And you know what I didn't know, Skip? I did not know the Baltimore Ravens have the number 2 scoring offense and the number 2 total offense. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out a little bit more about the Patriots defense. But I'm telling you, this kid here is dynamic. Now, a guy that's giving the Patriots a lot of problem is Cam Newton. Cam Newton has beaten Bill Belichick twice in the last 5 years. He's a guy that can cause problems outside of the pocket, can throw from outside of the pocket.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this match up. But Coach Belichick normally, what do you do well? If you pass, he'll drop 8 in coverage and says, okay, run it, because you can't beat me running the football. If you run it, he'll stack the line and says, okay, if you throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns, well, you got me today. But Lamar's going to grow up tomorrow on Sunday.
Yep. New England favored by 3 at Baltimore. I just think it sets up for New England to win by more than 3.
Whew, I'm looking forward to this one. We're going to have Mark stick around because, Skip, you got to catch a flight.
I got to go.
Heading to Oklahoma City, and we have to say congrats. High School Hall of Fame induction. That's a big deal.
That high school, they didn't close the high school down. That ain't a high school.
That's exciting, though.
Your high school still exists?
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Your high school still exists?
Yeah,
Shannon,
going strong.
Can you just say congrats and move on?
No.
Don't worry, though. He will not miss the show. He will join us via satellite tomorrow.
So I got one last thing to say before I depart. Kawhi Leonard.
Whatever.
No mercy.
The undefeated 49ers head to the desert to take on the Cardinals tonight on Fox. While San Fran is a large favorite, they are 0-8 against the Cardinals over the past 4 seasons and have not won in Arizona since 2013. I couldn't believe that. Shannon, will the 49ers still be undefeated after tonight?
I believe so, because they have a defense that's going to get after Kyler Murray. You let dogs, you let them hunt, and they will go hunting tonight. And Kyle Shanahan has done an unbelievable job with Jimmy Garoppolo. He has this offense playing really, really well. I think the addition of Emmanuel Sanders is only going to help that receiving game, because I think that's where they lack, because they can run the football. We know one thing. Kyle Shanahan's going to run the football. He's a chip off his dad's old block. And we know Bobby Turner, who's the running back coach of all those years in Denver, is the running back coach in San Fran right now. So, yeah, I expect them to win and win handedly tonight.
I do as well. And I think you bring up a couple of really good points. You take our base offense back in the late 90s, right, with Mike Shanahan, we ran about 6 plays. Now, we would run them with different window dressing, different motions, different formations, different personnel groupings. So they've taken those 6 plays, which is the kind of basic staple of what they do, and they have added the depth and the volume of run. And the thing that's amazing is the way they do that out of different motions and different sets and different guys running the football. But I tell you, for the guys up front, for the 5 offensive linemen and the 6 guys, you're blocking 19 handoff or 18 handoff. But there's so much variation to it that it looks like you have to defend about 60 plays. I mean, that's what it looks like when you're talking about San Francisco. So they do an unbelievable job setting up the play action off of that, creating opportunities for Jimmy Garoppolo. And talking to the players of San Francisco, they'll tell you that Kyle sits them down on Friday and says, let me tell you about what we're going to do. And they'll go through the game plan and say, this play that we're going to run stinks. This is a 2-yard play. It's not very good. But let me tell you why I'm running it. So it's not just the what we're going to do, it's the why we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and how it's going to open up 3 explosives in the second, third, and fourth quarter for us by running this play. And so they get such great buy-in on the offensive side of the ball. And remember, they're doing this with their 4th offensive tackle, their 5th offensive tackle, and without the best fullback in football in Kyle Juszczyk. And then, as you said, that defense.
Nick Bosa and Buckner, and they're coming.
I'm telling you, they've got the 3rd overall draft pick in Solomon Thomas in 2017 is a rotational 20-snap player. That's how good they are up front.
And they get maximum value. Maybe he starts to wear down. You play him 40, 45, 50 snaps a game. But you give him those 20 plays and allow him to raise hell. They're a big defensive line. So Kyler Murray is going to have to really find windows in order to throw the football, because he's throwing over 6'4.5", 6'5", Bosa, and then you got Buckner's like 6'7", Thomas like 6'7". They're a big, physical football team. And when we played for his dad, we prided ourselves. We weren't that big, but we were physical. We put people on the ground, and that's how they play on both sides of the football. They're going to get after Kyler Murray. We're going to find out a lot. You're going to find out a lot more about Kyler Murray and how good he is, because that's a damn good defense that he's going to face tonight.
Really good, and they keep it simple. They fly around. There's a competitive spirit that they have right now about playing for one another and going out there and who's going to get the plays. And watching Nick Bosa last week, this is interesting because you'll appreciate this as a tight end who blocked defensive ends. Most defensive players want separation from you, right? They want to work. Nick Bosa gets on top of you, to where most offensive linemen, that's where they want you. He is so good with his hands. He's like he was raised in a dojo by Mr. Miyagi, right? I mean, that's like, he is so good getting people's hands off of him that he turns corners where you wouldn't think he'd be able to turn them.
He can bend. For a guy that size, he can bend, and what we mean, he can get low to the ground without falling on the ground.
But his hand, like he's one of the best hands players I've watched on film.
Looking at that.
He doesn't play like a rookie, that's for sure.
No,
there's no question.
Making it look easy. Happy Halloween, guys.
Happy.
Mark,
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you very
joining
much.
us. Busy day. Skip's announcement, lot there. That is it for us. We'll be back
Skip.
tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.